SoFloRadio.com, the South Florida Radio Network.
George makes me moist in the morning. His J-Rod is uncircumcised. Driving to work with George on the dial, I climax on I-95. Pinching on my titties when he's at the swing club and wants me to jump on his wife. Ooh! George, George, George,
and Joe.
George, 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 George. George, George, George,
And Joe.
George, 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 George. George, George, George,
And Joe.
George, 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 George. George, George, George,
And Joe.
George, 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 George. George, George, George,
And Joe.
George, 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 George. George, George, George,
And Joe.
George, 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 George. George, George, George.
And Joe.
The agents listen in. Watch what you're saying. The agents listen in to your conversation. You say you've got nothing to hide. Now spread your legs for the FBI after reading that email sent by you. The agents listen in. On you they're spying. The agents listen in. Watch what you're writing. You gave up your privacy, threw away your liberties. Now you're safer until they come for you. Nobody seems to care, long as they can keep you scared. You'll find out much too late. You gave your rights away. The agents listen in. This country's crazy. The agents listen in. Stupid and lazy. USA holds you morons. All our rights and freedoms are gone as the agents listen to me and you.
My mic not on? No. Okay, thank you. 1204, SoFloRadio.com. I'm having headphone adjustment issues there. There we go. I want to hear myself booming in my own head. That's how I know that I'm talking. Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy Friday. It was supposed to be Vagina Friday, but I can't get a hold of Christy. So we might just have to talk about yours, Randy.
Oh,
because I kind of told everybody that we were going to be talking about vaginas on the show today. Should probably get Kim.
Oh, do I have vagina stories for you?
Do you?
No,
well, you can
not
just
at all.
start out
None.
with some right now. I mean, I have a lot of female friends.
I just sit on it.
And they have lots of vagina stories to tell, a lot of them. Well, we were going to have Christy here to talk about her vagina, but I can't even get her on the phone this morning, and I hope she's not irresponsible. And if you're listening on SoFlo, that's a miracle, because we've just been having so many internet problems here, and so it continues. But we're on camera. We're on the SoFlo television. If you go to the George Rodriguez show, we should be on video right there, and at least we're recording everything.
Yes,
no,
we
we're
are.
not.
What?
No, we're not.
We're not.
Because we don't have the mic lock on button.
Oh, okay.
Click on Sam.
Yes.
And then mic on and lock talk. And now we're recording. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Well, that's
Welcome
okay,
to the
because that's
show.
the part that we're not transmitting. We'll get the audio from the video, and at least that was working. At least I hope to. Put the video on. Make sure we have little levels there on the video. Because and By the Glass, by some miracle, went off just error-free yesterday. And I was in a panic right up until showtime, because Jason wasn't going to be able to show up. Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Randy's over here, and then Jack's over here on this side of me.
Hola.
The internet here in this building, and sadly, I think we're going to have to move. I don't know.
No.
We're on. We've tried 4 different routers, more expensive each router each
We weren't
time.
ready.
And yeah, I really like the spot. I like the view. Everybody knows that. I've been talking about how happy I am in the studios, except for the fact
People
that
now know that you're here.
yeah, and we're not gonna be here for much longer because we need internet and a thermostat. Would just be a couple of things that are important to me for the sake of comfort. As I'm looking up the textbook definition of feng shui, because we can talk about that on the show. We can talk about a lot of things in this Venn diagram of what's it called? The reason stick. The Venn diagram of irrational nonsense that I got from the Richard Dawkins Foundation. Like him on Facebook, you'll get all kinds of really cool articles just debunking things that you really don't need to be debunking. If you just if you require more than someone talking before you accept something as true, you don't need to have stuff debunked. But we have a default setting for belief. It was what we were talking about in the car. I'm a very gullible person. People tell me things, and I have a tendency to believe it based on my desire for it to be true. Now, that is not a good system for determining whether or not something is true.
I'd agree.
In retrospect. But most people, that is exactly the system that they use, and that is the system that I used for many years, which people say, how could a smart guy like you be so deeply steeped in religion like you say you were? Well, obviously, I wasn't thinking it through when I accepted it, because if I had been thinking it through, I wouldn't have accepted it, duh. I was told a story. It sounded good. The person telling me the story was very credible, and I wanted it to be true, and therefore I accepted it as true.
And then you get to this point where you're surrounded by this community and this lifestyle, and you're like, hey,
Yeah,
there might be more information
sure.
out there, but I'm really comfortable right here. Let's just stay
It's
here.
Yeah, stay
a
right here.
soothing balm, and a lot of people, the people that believe in things that they cannot prove, they use things like that to say, well, if you believe, then and I don't want to tangent off, because I could disprove that right away. I can prove that you don't believe.
Well, in some cases, I'd compare it to Advil or aspirin or something like that, in the sense that it's not really curing a headache. It's just masking the pain for the moment. So
Yeah.
if these beliefs that you speak of, the story sounds good, and it sounds good enough to where I just want to stay here, you're not really bringing
For
proof.
one thing, and I'm getting ahead of myself over here because I had so many like minor things that I wanted to get through,
Right.
like cop stories from last Friday. But nobody wants to die. I mean, I guess no, that's not true. People commit suicide all the time. All right, most people don't want to die.
Okay.
So if you
That's accurate.
So if you give someone, you tell someone a story and you tell them that if you believe this story, you won't die. There's a desire to believe that. There's an emotional desire to believe that. And when I was going through salesmanship classes, and they were making me listen to audio tapes and read books and everything, didn't work. None of it worked. But the point throughout, whether it was a book or a tape or a seminar that I attended, sell the sizzle, they would all say the same thing. People don't make decisions based on logic and intelligence. Most people don't. People make emotional decisions. They make a decision based on their emotions. You get them excited about something, they will buy it, and then they will use their brain to rationalize their actions after the fact so that they don't feel stupid about it afterwards. It's that order. It's in that
Any
order.
sales meeting you go to, that's the exact lesson.
That is the logic of it, and that is a truism. Get someone excited about something. People don't make decisions intellectually. For one thing, and you think about it, once upon a time we were, animals, and animals do the stimulus response thing. Like a loud noise on the left side, they run to the right. That's just very simple. Earthworms. You ever play with earthworms when you're a little kid?
Sure.
Or earthworms crawling across the line. You poke it, it moves away. Salty finger. It's got no ears, it's got no eyes, it's got no nose, it has a sensitive skin, it detected a salty, warm object, probably not dirt, it immediately deviates its course, and it moves the other way.
Right.
Earthworms, not intelligent creatures, but yet affected by stimuli. Lots of things are, and we are animals, and we are still largely affected by stimulus, and we make our decisions based on that. Somebody says, boo, we jump, and we scream. We don't go, I wonder that boo that I heard, is that a
that a
ghost
boo or a boo?
is that someone expressing their discontent out of a performance that they're witnessing? Should I jump up and run in the other direction right now, or should I not? Most people, you don't. We're not even used to. Our brains are brand new to us.
Right.
We're not even used to engaging our brains as part of the decision-making process.
I like the YouTube videos when people get scared and like they get punched in the face,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like the
I
stomach.
saw that.
Talk about fight or flight. I mean,
Yeah.
there it is right
I think
there.
a lot of that, because I've been to a lot of these sales seminars, if you want to call it that. The key word that I heard a lot of is impulse.
Yeah.
It's to feed off of that.
Sure.
It's like to get you all riled up to
emotionally. So I can explain my beliefs very easily. I made an emotional decision. The people that were presenting this to me were people that I trusted very much. These people would not lie to me. I had absolute trust in them. I didn't continue thinking like maybe they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There's a possibility that they're wrong, but these are people that have always done right by me. Their advice has always been good. And I'm talking about my sister and her husband, my brother-in-law. I had no reason to doubt anything that these people were saying. And could they have been wrong? It's like, yeah, that was in the back of my head somewhere. They could be wrong about this. They could be wrong about that. But I didn't think that they were wrong about this particular thing, so I accepted it. And I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the story. There is a whole sequence of events that led to me not believing anymore, but it took years for me to come to that. And it wasn't because I started doubting in the existence of God. I started doubting whether or not the people that were talking to me, I'm talking about the people in church, I started to doubt whether or not they were in touch with God. And also the authors of the Bible, I started to doubt whether or not they were in touch with God. And so when presented with something like that, when someone, hands me a book and says, this is the Word of God, I'm like, once upon a time, I just accepted that. I go, okay, yeah, it's the Word of God. And understand something. How good of a decision could it have been? I accepted it as true before I even read it. Now, how smart is that? Before I even read it, I accepted it as true. If I were going to have a make-believe conversation with let's call it a fundamentalist Christian, let's pretend, and I asked him, why did you choose the Bible as the book that you're going to use to, inspire your life? Why are you basing your belief in all of existence on that book? Is it because you read all of the scriptures of all of the other peoples of the world and chose the one that sounded the most true to you? Because they're not going to be able to say, yeah, that's how it did it.
Right.
I don't believe that there is walking on this planet a human being that read all of the scriptures of all of the people of the world and settled on the Bible as the one that sounded the best. I don't believe that has ever happened. Ever. Not once. And that's just a belief. I can't prove that. I'm just saying that I don't believe that if you read, because there's all these books, there's the Tripitaka and the Bhagavad Gita and the Avesta and the Bible and the Quran, and these are just the belief systems that have been conveniently collected into a book or series of books. The Kabbalah, right? So I doubt very seriously that there is in existence, or ever has been in existence, a human being that has read all of the world's scriptures and then gone back to the Bible and said, you know what, this is the best one, because I want to meet that person so that then I can ask them. So you read all the scriptures of all of the people and you decided that the best of them all was the one that says that God sets fire to babies.
A sane human being.
Yeah.
You left that part out.
Yeah.
Because I don't know anybody who could go through all those channels and come back normal.
I read most of that stuff. I read the Cliff's Notes on it.
Exactly.
I have books about those books, and I either have the books themselves and have read them, or I have books on the books. Like books about religion that explain, that distill the basic principles of all of those religions down there. And so I can do some comparative study. For example, I can tell you that in no other book does it glorify God drowning babies. Like if you read all of the books of all of the other people, you're not going to find a religious book that says God is great and perfect and wonderful, and he drowns babies, and he sets babies on fire, and he tells his followers to kill babies on a grand scale. And if a woman is pregnant, to make sure that you stab her in the baby box to make sure that the baby is dead.
Yeah.
And God is jealous, and God likes the smell of burning animal flesh, and all of these things. And
do you have
he's
do you have the
perfect.
exact scripture?
Which one?
Of the God burning babies or the drowning babies? Or
Well,
the
drowning babies is the Noah story. He drowned the population of the world. You know there were some babies in there, right?
Yeah, there's a good chance there were babies in there.
He drowned
Most likely.
everybody except for this old Getchke and his 3 sons and their families. You know that there were babies. Because you can't have a global population and, everyone's an adult and they're all assholes. You know it wasn't like that, right? You know there were innocent women and children and babies drowned in the great flood that only Noah survived. See, here's the thing. Here's 2 explanations of the same story. One person will tell you the story. Once upon a time, the world was full of only assholes. Everybody in the world was evil. Every single motherfucker in the world was evil, except for this one old guy, his wife, their 3 sons. Can you name them?
Jeb, Willie, and
No, those are the Bush brothers.
no, those are the Robertsons.
Huh?
Those are the Robertsons.
Shem, Hem, and Japheth were Noah's sons, and they had wives.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So everyone in the world was shitty and deserved to be drowned except for these people, okay? And so God said to, the person that created all these assholes, that knew before he created them that they were going to be assholes, that knew before he created them that he was going to be drowning them later because he knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
The creator of the universe contacted the old guy and his families and said, build a giant boat because I need to save you and a whole bunch of animals because I'm about to drown the world.
But wasn't
Now
like,
at
didn't
this point,
Okay.
I would be like, no, it'd be like,
I'm
so
getting
you
my hands.
created the world and the universe and the stars and everything,
And you made a mistake.
but you need me to build a boat. Okay, now you can do anything. The person that's telling you the story that wants you to believe it is like, wait a minute, you're telling me that the creator of the universe that knows everything and can do anything is going to drown the world because he fucked up even though he's perfect, and he wants to undo what he did even though he's perfect. But even though he has the ability to create worlds and planets and stars and everything, he needs an old man to build a boat. He can't build the boat himself, or he can't miraculously, because he's going to flood the world, which takes a lot of God power to unleash a great bunch of water on the world. He can't just flood the world except for this one area over here and move everything over there. He's not going to tell the old guy, hey, I'm going to flood the world, so you and your family need to go over here to this mountain because I'm going to flood everything except for that mountain. And that's where I'm going to send the animals. No. God can't give the animals directions to the mountain. He can only give the animals directions to the boat. What?
I'm getting God on the phone. You guys.
The God phone.
He has some
Yeah. Well,
explaining to do.
you can plug that in, and we'll talk to God at some point.
But
Well,
isn't it
God
also-
doesn't have to explain this because God didn't do any of that shit. God did not flood the world. Did you ask God?
Well, it couldn't. Well,
I'm gonna
ask
ask
God. Did he give?
Did you flood the world? Just play along. All right, he likes role playing games. God, did you flood the world? He said no. That would be stupid.
No,
Like, why would he
George.
create? Yeah, God sounds like Morgan Freeman, which I think is good. We'll do that. We'll write some stuff out, and Morgan Freeman can be the voice of God. If
All right,
anybody,
We can
I
do
mean,
that, George.
if anybody can deserves to be the voice of God, I
But
say
isn't
just
it
Morgan Freeman.
also possible that God,
Mhm.
given this story,
Yes.
couldn't he have been giving the message to everyone, and Noah was the only person that actually listened, and so all the other fuckers deserve to die?
Sure, it's possible, but that's not how the story goes.
Okay.
The story doesn't say that God went and talked to everyone and gave them a chance
Left
for
that part out.
salvation. It doesn't say that at all. It just says that everyone was a dick and he was going to drown everybody except for Noah and his family.
I got to go back and read my Bible.
Would you like to borrow one of mine? One of mine, because I have more than one. More than one version. Although, as a recovering Catholic, you might want to read the Vulgate of St. Jerome,
I'm
the Latin Bible.
I might still be a practicing Catholic.
One of these days you'll get it right. I just found out Lisa Correo is a practicing Catholic. We had a little text
Yeah.
exchange over the weekend. How
It's been
funny.
embedded into me. Like it's
I
hard.
know.
It's a
I
hard
understand
habit
that.
to break.
Keep calling.
I know. Well,
It's
that's one of the cartoons that I posted. Is if somebody presented you with this information as an adult, you'd laugh at them and go on, but it was drilled into your head when you were very young and impressionable.
I really like the
there it
thought of
sits.
living forever.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
And I had a conversation with Jesus, and
Yeah.
I ate of his body and I drank his blood, and
Sure,
we
you're a
had an
cannibal.
agreement.
You're a cannibal.
Oh, that's
right.
such an intimate relationship.
Except that God and Jesus didn't make you that promise. A person who wants your money made you that promise.
Well, I don't really have any money. So
Nevertheless,
they
Just
get
in
more
case
of
you
my
do.
time.
there are things more valuable than money.
Just in case you do.
You ever watch Conan the Barbarian? The original one? So
No.
much.
With Arnold.
With Arnold.
Oh, with Arnold's. Oh.
With Arnold and James Earl. Oh, I need the
Add that to my
I need the Darth
Netflix.
glass,
Okay.
please.
Ooh.
It's under the mask because if I'm going to impersonate James Earl Jones, I need help. Okay, I need Darth glass. Conan the Barbarian, the first one, very good movie. I was surprised, and I think it was only Arnold's second movie, and everybody was poo-pooing on Arnold in those days because he had the speech, I was going to say
accent.
speech defect. It was an accent, but he defied. I gotta hand it to Arnold. I mean, there's a lot to dislike about him, but back in the beginning. I saw an interview. They said, you're not good. They told me that I should change my name. That my name is too long, and that I will never get hired in the movies because of my accent. I can't change the way I talk.
I should go to a speech.
Teacher. Therapist. So he didn't change his name and he didn't change his accent. Look at him now. Ha ha. In Conan the Barbarian, the plot of Conan the Barbarian, Randy, is Arnold, Conan, is looking for the man who killed his family and massacred his village. Name of Thulsa Doom. This is the plot of the movie. Used real characters from the books, but the plot in the book didn't exactly go this way, but who cares? The movie was kind of cool, and it had Sandal Bergman, and it had a lot of boobies, and a lot of blood, and really cool fights, and it was really rousing, and it had great music. Oh, I gotta find the music now. One moment, please. I gotta find the Conan music because it's exciting. Conan, by the way, there's two Conan things. Two religious. You don't think Conan the Barbarian would be a movie filled with religious philosophy, but it is. I got to find the Conan theme to talk about this because there's a couple things. So Thulsa Doom, when he was a barbarian raider, massacred Conan's village and killed his mom and his dad and stole his father's sword and sold Conan into slavery, where he learned how to be a pit fighter. And eventually he meets up with Thulsa Doom, and they're talking about the riddle of steel because Conan believes that if he solves the riddle of steel, Crom will let him into Valhalla. But because that's the question, that his Sumerian religion, that's how it is. It's like when a man dies, Crom is going to ask him the riddle of steel, and if he knows how to solve it, then he will live forever with Crom in Valhalla. Okay, so Conan's looking for the answer to the riddle of steel. Among other things, he wants to get revenge from Thulsa Doom, so he mentions the riddle of steel. And Thulsa Doom goes, do you want to know what the riddle of steel is? Because, once upon a time I thought that steel mattered, and I would go from place to place stealing steel because I thought that might and militaria was all that mattered. But now he's the leader of a cult, Thulsa Doom, and he's got his followers all around him, and there's a cliff. He's like inside of a basin surrounded by a cliff when he's having this conversation with Conan, who's all beat up. His men would beat Conan up. And all of his worshippers are all up on the top of the cliff, observing what's going on down below. And he says, Conan, do you want to know what the riddle of steel? Here, I'll show you. And he says, you see that girl there? And he points and he gestures with his hand. He beckons the girl to him, and she leaps off of the cliffs and comes crashing down on the ground through the floorboards at their feet and kills herself. And he says, that is the riddle of steel. Steel is nothing compared to the hand that holds it. So there is something more valuable than gold and steel, and that is the obedience. It's an ego trip. Why do the Buddhist monks get off on being monks? They have a vow of poverty. They can't own anything more than they can carry on their person. They can't eat solid food past 12 noon. Why would anybody volunteer for a life like that? Because they're adored and respected. And when they walk through the village, people bow before them, revere them, and people listen to the words that come out of their mouths. And it's a trip, and it's a power trip. It's not just money. It's a power trip why people would tell stories like that, especially scary stories designed to keep you on the straight and narrow doing what I say. Because I could say, hey, yo, Randy, give me a whole bunch of money. And you'll say, no.
Well, first I'd say why.
Why? Because I want some, and you got some.
But I want you to be happy, George. So here, take it.
Oh yeah, they're not good at these role playing games.
Sorry.
You don't just if people walking around asking you for money, you're eventually going to say no. I need some of this over there. But if someone says, "Give me some money or I'll kill you," you might be more inclined to give them your money.
Yeah,
and then,
but definitely a motivator.
that won't work with everyone, because some people don't fear death.
True.
So to them you say, give me your money or or you will have to burn in the fires of hell forever. Oh, that's way worse than death. That's like burning forever. That sucks. That sounds really sucky. That sounds like a bad scene, man.
Sounds like it hurt.
The people have always wanted to rule over other people. Everybody wants to rule the world.
Love that song.
Right. Everybody wants, and not everybody, but there are people out there, you know them, you've heard of them. They want to be in charge. They want to be rich. They want to be famous. They want to be powerful. And this has been going on in every culture since the beginnings of language. So they make up stories designed to get people to do what they want them to do, not what God wants you to do. Randy, I firmly suggest that you do everything that God tells you to do. I know I do. I do everything that God tells me to do without question. God tells me to do something. Everything that God tells me to do, I do it right away. I drop whatever I'm doing at the moment, and I do it. Unless, of course, what I'm doing at the moment is something that God told me to do earlier, and then I'll say to God, well, do you want me to finish this first or just drop this and start on the next thing? I have never disobeyed God. How do you like that?
I like it very much.
Yeah, the only problem is there are all these books and all these people running around telling me what God wants me to do. And I ask God, it's like, hey, God, Bill said that I should do this. God told me that if he has a message for me, he knows my phone number and he knows my address and he knows exactly where I live. And if God has a message for me, God told me, he won't tell Bill to tell me because he has the ability to tell me himself. And it's just like one of those guarantees you see on TV. If you you get those emails from like Amazon. Amazon will never ask you for your account information or your phone number. If you ever get an email from someone asking you for your login information or anything like that, please do not believe that it's from Amazon because Amazon doesn't do that. All right? Why would Bill tell me that he has a message for me from God?
Because Bill spends so much time, with God, and they have like a
no,
really close
no. That's what Bill says. That's what Bill says.
And Bill is a pathological liar, George.
But that's what Bill says. Did God tell you that Bill was his agent?
No.
No. Bill's saying that.
I didn't get a
Does
letter.
Bill
from
have
God
something to
saying,
gain
Bill
from
will
you
now be
believing?
speaking for me.
Bill, does Bill have something to gain from you believing that Bill is his authorized agent?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely he does. So I'm thinking, that God would contact person A to deliver a message to person B. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that person A would lie to person B and say that God has a message so that person B will give money or respect or admiration to person A, that's very logical. That makes sense right there. That makes a great deal of sense because people lie all the time. People lie to other people to get money from them or whatever all the time. Just think of how often and casually we lie. Let's say that some friend wants you to, hey, can you help me move tomorrow? You don't want to just say, no, I hate moving. It sucks. So instead you say, no, I got a birthday party, kitty birthday party. It's my niece. Yeah, that's the ticket. My niece is having a birthday and I got to go bringing the bounce house.
You mean the niece that you hate the guts of the father?
Yeah, but that's okay because I can't blame the niece for the father and this and that. But think of how casually we lie to make life easier for ourselves. And we do that. We do that all the time.
That is a really big motivator for lying is convenience.
Sure.
Or inconvenience.
Yeah.
Think of all the things. Think of all the things that an all-powerful being doesn't have to do.
Lie is one of them.
Lie is one of them, and ask for help is another one. Just think, wow, God has the power to create the universe, which is a big thing. Like I built some Legos, when I was a kid, and I was real proud of the Lego city that I built. Not quite as big as building, say, a galaxy. So God can create a galaxy in a world or something, but yet there are all these stories of God asking his own creations for help as if, and people say, well, God is asking for help to see if the people would do what he told them to do. Only problem is, you didn't hear that story from God, did you? You heard that story from a human. You heard that story from a human who has something to gain from you believing that story. Think of what God has to gain from you believing that story. Like, what could you do for God that God can't do for himself? And I do have the answer to that because it's George's religion. But meanwhile, back to the Conan the Barbarian theme.
Church of Bacchus.
This is why... Nope. Church of Surprise, but more on that later.
Okay.
And we haven't even talked about cop stories or anything like that. I have to wait to skip
So
the
many.
ad. Okay, now you can turn my computer up, please, so I can do the Conan the Barbarian theme over here, which is a really great theme. Before I talk to Conan religion, okay? This is
Ready.
as distilled by me. The books, the magazines, and the movie. They touch on it in the movie because they have several religious discussions in the movie. Because in the movie, everybody has a different religion. So at one point, Conan is called upon to explain his religion because he worships Crom. All right, and the archer that he's with, they're in dire straits, and the archer that he's with is praying. And Conan snorts at him, and the guy says, "Don't."
In the time when
Oh,
the
sorry.
oceans drank Atlantis,
Oh, I don't want to.
destined
No,
to bear
that's
the
enough. There we go. So, the archers, Conan says, "One does not pray to Crom." Oh, I don't need this for that. I need to also do the riddle of steel. One does not. You can. I don't know. I'll control the volume on this thing, I guess. Conan explained that one does not pray to Crom,
Okay.
and the archer's like, well, that's weird. You believe in a god that you believe that it's wrong to pray to? Please do explain that. I need to understand that. And so Conan explains it. He says, when Crom makes a man, Crom is wise. He gives a man everything the man is going to need when he is born. To ask Crom for more is to be an ungrateful, whiny bitch. You do not pray to Crom. Crom is watching all the time, always. Crom wants to see what you will do with the gifts that he gave you, and if you make good with the gifts, then he will reward you. Do not distract Crom's attention with your prayers and asking for more. You're an ungrateful bitch if you ask for more. If you want to show Crom that you appreciate his gifts and use his gifts, do not ask for more, you ungrateful bitch. That's Conan explaining his religion. And it caused me to think about all the things that we do in the name of worship. Do we consider life to be a gift?
Yep.
Do we consider
Absolutely.
that? Okay, a gift from God, let's just say. Did God give us this gift of life?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Or,
Now,
yeah.
when someone gives you a gift, what ought you do?
Say thank you.
You say thank you.
Be appreciative.
Right. Do you say, is this it? This is all I get? Is that what you say
No.
when someone gives you a gift?
Uh-uh.
Let's say someone gives you a car. Brand new car. Name a car type, Randy, because you're having car trouble right now. You could probably go for a new car. Name a car, quick. Name a
Nissan.
brand. Nissan. All right, awesome. So somebody gives you a Nissan right now, and you go,
A Nissan.
Nissan.
Rogue.
Nissan. You know I kind of had my eye on an Infinity, right? That's a good analogy. Infinity. I kind of wanted infinity, but you gave me finity. You gave me a Nissan. Not quite as good as an Infinity. Nobody wants to die, but we're lucky to be alive. So when you find yourself alive, you're supposed to say, thank you, God. Thank you for this life. And then what? And now what? What more? Besides saying thank you. Because why do you think God gave you a life? Do you think that God's a dick or a douchebag?
No.
So do you think God gave you life so that it would suck and that you would have a horrible life? Do you really believe that that's why God created us, is so that we would be unhappy?
I hope not.
I don't want to think that. Well, here's there's a quote, a Greek quote. I think I'm going to Google this quote by Marcus Aurelius. Greek or a Roman quote. Marcus Aurelius. Where is it? I never quote. Wow, he's got a lot of quotes. Okay, here we go. Live a good life. Where is it? Where is it? Come on. Damn internet over here. So did I tell you what might have to move? Might have to move? Okay. Marcus Aurelius, ancient Greek. Live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, and they will not care how devout you have been, but how welcome, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. That's sentence number one. Let me read that again without flubbing. Live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. If there are gods but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, then you will be gone. You will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones. So, do you believe that God is just or unjust?
I worship a just God.
Now, you worship, and
Well,
I'm glad that you chose
I'm
that
grateful.
set of words, but you worship. Think of what
do.
that means to worship. Think of what that means, that act. Because I believe in the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
I enjoy
you-
being worshipped.
Do you? Okay. You think so, but what if there was someone that you loved?
Yes.
like say a child of your own,
Uh-huh.
and that child was spending a great deal of time, A, telling you how good and awesome you are, and B, telling you a lot of things about yourself that you know about yourself already, and that the child knows that you know, and you know that the child knows that you know. Your child is telling you over and over again that your name is Randi, and that you are a woman, and
With blue hair.
with blue hair,
And wings.
and every day your child says, Randi, I love you, you're beautiful, you have 2 eyes. It's like that Monty Python thing, that Monty Python prayer in the meaning of life. Oh Lord, ooh, you are so big. Think of a lot of the things, because I thought about, because I used to worship, a lot of the things that we do in the name of worship. And when you do worship, you're making a statement. The statement that you're making is, God digs this. You wouldn't be doing it if you didn't think that God digs it.
Well, I would definitely stop doing it if I knew that he didn't.
Right? Well, give God some credit, I believe. Give God some credit. Put yourself in God's position and think, do you believe that God created us so that we could tell God that he's good? Or do you think that God already knows that?
Probably already knows.
Probably already knows that. Because
But George,
God
don't
existed
you like
before
hearing,
we did.
Don't you like hearing,
But I'm a human
you
with
are a
an
human.
ego.
With an ego.
And I do like to hear that I am good. However, I do not wish to be worshipped. And especially, here's the thing. Someone is telling me that I'm good, but I know deep down inside that what they're doing because they hope that they will live forever.
Say
It's
that
like,
again.
if someone is telling me that I'm good,
Uh-huh.
they're kissing my butt, but
Right.
I know that they're kissing my butt because they want me to reward them, I'm not feeling it.
Or what if they're kissing your butt because they're scared you're gonna hurt them?
Either way, now they're fearing me. Not a compliment. Not a compliment if someone's afraid of me. I'm doing something wrong if someone's afraid of me, and I'm a human. By the way, and my ego is, human ego, but I'm not an egomaniac, nor do I have an inferiority complex, but I have a feeling that if there is in this universe a being that doesn't need to have his butt kissed because his ego is so very secure, I bet you it's God.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
I bet you
imagine so.
if I could just name one being in the universe that was okay with himself and did not need the constant ego reaffirmation that we humans do, I bet you it's God. So we come up with these worshipful concepts because we do things that we believe would make God feel good, because we think that they would make us feel good. If we're like, you get on a stage, and we like this, we're in show business. This is the stage right now. All of us who are in show business, you get out on a stage and people cheer for you. It makes us feel good, doesn't it? Releases endorphins in our brain. It's a chemical reaction, like eating chocolate ice cream or having sex. It makes us feel really good when we
Best
walk out on a
drug
stage
ever.
and people right, and people cheer for you. It makes us feel really good.
Lady Gaga sang a song about it.
Yeah. The applause, applause, applause. It's not a new concept. But I don't see, because here's the thing. I'm going to make a very bold statement. Worship is immoral. Worship is an insult to God. Everything that we do that falls under the greater definition of worship is a statement that is a negative statement. You're saying to God, with every act of worship that we have devised as human beings, and I read all the books, you're doing this thing, and the statement that you're making is, God likes this. God wants me to do this. This is making God happy, and God's going to reward me for doing this. I think that if there is a God, that's the fast track to insulting him. Right there. You're saying, God, you have an ego. God, you created humanity because you felt your butt wasn't being kissed enough. God, I'm doing what you want me to do. Bow, scrape, crawl around on my hands and knees, genuflect, wave my arms up and down, flap them around in the air, jump up and down, sit, get on my knees, and tell you how awesome you are all the time. And I'm doing that because I believe you want me to. I believe that's why I was created. And if I were God and somebody made that statement towards me, I wouldn't take it as a compliment. I wouldn't feel that person was doing anything positive. I would conclude that person is afraid of death, and that they're very self-serving, that they need a positive affirmation, that the gift of life that I gave them isn't good enough, that they're a greedy individual who's going for more. I gave them a gift, and they're whining and bitching for more. More. It's the plot of Blade Runner. You saw Blade Runner? The science fiction with Rutger Hauer, Randy? Movie?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Previewing.
Good.
Previewing the bits.
That's okay. Blade Runner with Rutger Hauer, Harrison
Yes.
Ford. You saw that movie, right?
Yes.
This is the plot.
Good
And then
film.
watched it over and over again. I don't know how many times you watched it, but it starts out, they explain it very clearly. All these replicants came back to Earth, and you don't really know at the time. You don't know what the hell is going on, but by following Roy Batty and his replicant friends around, you determine that he is trying to go see Tyrell of the Tyrell Corporation, the guy that made him, his creator. He wants to go back and see his creator. And he's there sitting on the bed right before he crushes his head, and he's like, and he finally utters his complaint. And what does he say? He says, "I want more life, fucker." You remember that? That's the line. Mm-hmm. He's upset. They were built with a short lifespan. And what does Tyrell say to him? Do you remember? Because I've seen this a lot.
I don't remember. I've seen Blade Runner.
All right.
like,
Well,
once,
I'll
I
tell
think,
you.
when I was
You just got to see it again. It's very
like 6.
philosophical. What Tyrell says to him is he says, "Don't you understand? I made you as good as I could. None of us live forever. Your life is short. When you burn the candle at both ends the way that you do, the way that you can, you live half as long as the rest of us. You are strong. You are smart. You can do amazing things. Oh, the amazing things that you have done. Look at the life that you have had. We made you as good as we could make you. This is it. This is all you get. I'm sorry." And then Rutger Hauer crushes his head because he's pissed off. That was an unacceptable answer. He crushes his creator's head. It's like, yeah! He was very angry with him. He was very angry with him for making him at all. I was like, if you had never made me, I wouldn't be feeling this anger right now. Because you made me love life. You made me alive. You gave me the ability to love life, but not the ability to sustain my life. I'm gonna die, and I'm really pissed off about that. And I'm gonna crush your head.
And now
I'm crushing your head. I crush you.
No, I was just.
And then the end of the movie,
he died.
He died. But wait, before he died, do you remember what happened at the end of the movie?
What
Because
happened?
him and Harrison Ford in the big building, and he's, he's
Fighting in
breaking
the
Harrison
rain.
Ford's fighting in the rain. He breaks Harrison Ford's fingers, and he rams his head through the wall, and it's all scary and creepy and everything. And Harrison Ford is trying to run away from him, and he leaps from one building to another, and he misses, and he's hanging. He's hanging from his one good hand. Harrison Ford is hanging from his one good hand, and Roy Batty leaps from one building to the other like nothing, and he's looking down on Harrison Ford. He's looking down on him because he was going to kill him because Harrison Ford killed all the other replicant friends. So Roy Batty, who, he's running around, the replicants are killing people left and right. He killed Tyrell. He killed the guy with the, I just do eyes. The guy, he's just killing people back and forth. And so here's Harrison Ford is going to die. He's holding on to the gargoyle building ornament with one hand, and he's slipping, and he's going to die. And Roy Batty was trying to kill him. And Roy Batty's fighting, his hand is cramping up, so he knows his time is coming. And Harrison Ford is going to slip and fall and die, and Roy Batty reaches down. As soon as he loses his grip, he reaches down all fast, and he grabs Harrison Ford by the hand and picks him up and puts him on the building. And then he leans over and dies. Why? I know the answer. Because I've seen this so many times. I know why.
Bless you. His end was near. Anyway,
his end was near, but why didn't he just let this guy die? Harrison Ford killed Pris and all his other replicant friends.
Well, I guess in some form of poetic justice, he looked at it like, you know what? You have an opportunity to live a little bit longer than me. Enjoy it. It's my gift to you.
Well, as my gift to you. See, here's the thing, because there was a lot of God role play in that movie, and second guessing God, and Tyrell was representing God, and God to Roy Batty. To Rutger Hauer's character, God was someone who could give life and take life. And Roy Batty was really good at taking life. He was designed as a soldier.
Right.
So he had taken a lot of lives. He had done a lot of killing in his life. He could do that. But if he reached down and saved Harrison Ford when he was about to die and saved his life and allowed him to live, that's giving life. And only God can give life. So before he died, Roy Batty allowed himself to feel what it must feel like to be God, to give life.
Right.
He wanted to experience that before his life ended. What's that experience like? To give life. He knew what it felt like to take life. But now I'm giving you life. And then he holds onto the dove. He's got that dove in his hand.
Right.
And he slumps over, and the dove flies away. And it's all very symbolic. And
I guess we could call this Cult Classic Friday. Because last week, weren't we talking
Where's
about
Christy?
Mad
I want
Max?
to talk about her vagina.
Yeah? Don't we all?
Yeah.
Oh.
Telling you. And I'm still trying to log on to, we're recording this. Hey, buy the download later. Watch it on the thingy. Watch it on the video. I didn't even do the email blast today. I was so distracted by Roy Batty and, Rutger Hauer.
And vaginas.
And vaginas. So meanwhile, back to God, because I thought about this for a long time, and where my train of thought starts with, I would also like to please God. But don't just stop thinking there. Why do you want to please God? Why do you want God to be happy with you, Randy? And I know the answer. Before I ask a question, I know the answer.
Good. I don't want him to be unhappy with me.
Why?
Because I love God.
Why?
Because I love life.
Why?
No. We know why you love life.
Well, do you?
No, if someone were to create us, we're grateful. And by the way, we have no choice but to be grateful. Only a douchebag. I mean, it's a mental illness. If you walk up to a person and give them $100, they're going to be grateful. What kind of an asshole? Hey, here's a free $100 bill. They go, oh, fuck you. I don't want your $100 bill.
That's all you got?
Yeah. No. Only an asshole would be offended or not grateful by, they might be, they might want more, but that doesn't mean that they don't appreciate that $100. Okay? So you're automatically grateful. That's a no-brainer. If we were created by this being, of course we're going to be grateful. Duh. So to tell God something that God already knows, like, hey God, I'm really grateful to be alive. God's response to that, natural response would be like, I know you are. Of course you are. To be alive is to be grateful for life. Duh. That's not why. The reason that we're nice to God, the reason that we're so concerned about God being happy with us, is because we want to be rewarded with more life. I want more life, fucker. That's what it's all about. We want to be rewarded, not punished. And humans have figured out a way to get other humans to do... these humans over here have figured out a way to get those humans over there to give them money, food, treasures, and women by pretending to represent God. All you have to go on is their say-so. God didn't walk into the room with Bill and say, Randy, this is my authorized agent Bill. Now, even though I'm capable of doing anything and being anywhere, everywhere at once and everything, for no reason whatsoever, for no good goddamn reason whatsoever, I'm going to just pretend that I'm busy or some shit. So Bill's going to be telling you what I want you to do. If he says that it's good, it's good. And if he tells you that it's bad because I'm just too busy to tell you this myself. But here it is, Bill, my authorized agent. And so, well, I'm going to say to Bill, well, since God was the one that introduced you to me, I would be very stupid to not listen to what you have to say. After all, God brought you into the room and introduced you as his authorized agent. But it didn't happen that way, did it?
That never happened.
Bill walked into the room and said, hey there, I'm God's authorized agent. Do what I say, or God will be angry with you. If you do what I say, God will reward you. And if you don't do what I say, God will punish you. So, for starters, have sex with me. That's Bill. That's Bill's rap. This is religious people. They do that. They said that. They had multiple wives. The authors of the Bible had multiple wives. They had sex slaves, and they practiced genocide. They didn't just write stories about God killing babies. They killed babies, and then they wrote stories about God telling them to kill babies. And these are the people that we base our lives on, the creation story, our concepts of good and bad. All these people say the Bible's a guideline for this and that. I had an argument the other day. Somebody was saying, well, at least it's a good moral guidebook. I go, no, it's not, because it downplays actions. Actions don't just speak louder than words. Actions matter. Words don't. Blah, blah, blah. Noises in the air. Blah, 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 blah. Making noises with my mouth.
More show, less tell.
Yeah.
As far as actions go.
Well,
we're
tell
doing
a
a
tale.
radio show.
We're doing a radio show. So that's
So we
all.
gotta tell the tale.
So because I was raised Catholic. Also, I got my little first communion pictures. Did I ever show you my first communion pictures?
No, I haven't seen them.
Oh, with my little rosary wrapped around my hand, and I got my little white, I don't know, prayer book. I guess that's the prayer book.
I have my pictures.
I got a little
too.
Catholic prayer book and a little Hebrew prayer book in my bookcase there with all my religious books
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. So anyway, so here's a George religion. I don't ever know if I ever told you the George religion, the whole surprise religion thing.
Bacchus?
No. That's my fake religion for fun and money,
Surprise.
which I call funny.
Yes. You
No,
have
the-
told me the story, and I love the story.
The
'cause I
surprise
think
thing, because
it's
that's
so
the only
original.
thing that God can't create for himself.
And
For
I
example,
I honestly think that's how we got here.
and think about
You
it.
know?
We
Yeah.
can't create surprise for ourselves either, even if you're very talented. Like, you can be a very good crafts person. You could be very good at making crafts and arts and things. You could be good at telling jokes. You could be good at writing stories and creating things. But when you think about it, surprise is one of those things that we can't create for ourselves. For example, think about how you would try to surprise yourself. I'm going to take this Jack-in-the-Box here, okay?
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to take the handle off so that it won't look like a Jack-in-the-Box, and I'm going to paint it up so that it doesn't look like a Jack-in-the-Box. Sorry, Jack.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just so happens.
No innuendo.
And then
Over
I'm
it
going
by
to
now.
and then I'm going to rig the lid so that it will pop open when it's just taken out of the wrapper, and I'm going to wrap it up with brown paper and a bow, and I'm going to mail it to myself, and then when it comes in the mail, I'm going to open it. I'm totally going to forget that I did that. And when I open it, the little gesture on a spring is going to jump out, and I'm going to be surprised. I surprised myself. No, you can't.
Well, that's kind of asinine, George. Why
Duh.
would you go through all that?
Because to prove that I can't surprise myself.
But-
You can't surprise yourself because you know what's going to happen. If you do it, you know what's going to happen. Like a movie
you
that
need-
you made, like a lot of movies have surprise endings, right? Guess who's not surprised by the surprise ending in the,
The person
movie?
that made
The
the
person
movie.
that wrote the fucking movie.
But do you know what does surprise them?
What?
The reaction of the audience. What you need to be surprised is a witness. You need a partner. You need a playmate, and that's
The surprise
where
needs to be
comes
generated by
in.
some right, because you don't know. The surprise comes from you don't know what's going to happen. When you show the movie to the audience, you don't know if they're going to like it or dislike it. So when you see the positive looks on their faces, you get that feeling.
Or if everybody walks out and you piss them all
Right.
off, then
The bottom line is,
same thing.
surprise is when something happens that you didn't expect. And if you are an all-knowing being, how can you possibly create something that you don't expect? You can't.
Kind of have to send a wish out into just create.
But you can't
create the
forget. If you're
unknown.
God, you can't forget. But here's what you could do as God. You could point to a point in space, say, I want a whole bunch of matter and energy to explode over there. And I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to see what happens. All right? Now, God could guess and God could deduce and everything like that, but if he doesn't interfere with the matter and energy, the matter and energy is going to swirl all around through space and take on all kinds of shapes and forms and coalesce into stars and planets, and life will evolve and grow, and who knows? Because that's a lot of material out there. That's a lot of things to watch, and God can watch a whole lot of things all at the same time. So just by the law of averages, something's going to happen that even God in his infinite wisdom would be surprised by. Maybe it takes several universes' lifetime before somebody will surprise God somewhere, before something happens that makes God go, huh, fancy that. Look what happened over there. I really didn't see that one coming.
Surprise.
Maybe it'll take a lot, but because really anything that we say about God is just speculation. We're just guessing. Maybe God doesn't know everything all the time, always. Maybe he just knows most things most of the time. Maybe God isn't all knowledgeable or all powerful. That's just, that came from us. We just said that shit. Just because we, the humans, said it doesn't make it so. We like to think that for some reason. By the way, why?
Because we like to personify this
exactly.
energy, this presence of
We
God.
we personify. That is exactly the correct word. To personify means to make it into a person.
Exactly.
And God is not a person, but
No.
we apply our characteristics to God. And even in the Bible, I will make man in my image. We'll make man in our... By the way, it says we will make man in our image. Who's he talking to?
There are a lot of passages like that.
Sure.
That make me feel as though there's like a collection of
like the
beings.
Q collective
or-
of God. Well,
I have
we
no idea
we like to
what
call
that's
God.
about.
We use a male pronoun, and we define God as a singular. But that's just some shit we pulled out of our asses.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But I like to think that God, when the humans are calling God perfect, I really like to believe that God likes to conjure up another God right next to him, like, hey, I'm going to split myself in two for a minute so I can have a conversation. Hey, God, look, the humans are calling us perfect again. Yeah, no. Do they know what perfection is? No.
Not a clue.
Not a clue. Would they recognize perfection if they saw it? No.
Nope. Not if it was sitting on their face.
None of this. Yeah, I have no idea.
On their
why?
face, huh?
Why does it matter to them that we're perfect? I don't know. I really don't know why it matters. Like, they have a life. We created them. They have a life, and for some reason, it's important for us to be perfect. How about if we're not perfect? How about, like, I'm not perfect, but I can do good things. You're not perfect. You do good things. You gave me that little flash thing.
Yeah,
that was
I
good.
did.
See, and you're not perfect. Thank you. My flash over here. I can rub it.
Though I do try.
So why is it important for us for God to be perfect? Why is that even like
Because
up to
we're
us?
not.
Perfect according to who?
Because we're not. That's
Perfect.
why.
Like what? Like do two people have the same definition of perfection?
Don't know.
Right. Why does it even
Like
matter?
one person's perfect
What if
might be
what if
another
God isn't
person's
perfect?
flawed.
What if God is a being that was a douchebag for millennia and then one day decided to try something else, like Roy Batty? Like, what if God is this destructive force that decided to see what it would be like to be a creative force for a while? We really have no idea. We could just throw out ideas all day long, and the chances of us being right are as good. Any theory would be as valid as anyone before it or anyone after it, because God isn't here to say, hey, yeah, there you go. You got the right one, baby.
Yeah.
So, but what we do have to go on is what other people said. And as far as the reward goes, because I believe this, and second guessing God. This is just a new disclaimer. This is George second guessing God. There's no guarantee. My theory is as valid as anybody else's because God spends as much time talking to me as He has speaking to everyone who has ever lived combined. And I just want to ask Him.
No, I believe you.
Okay, he's right here on the phone. He's always on the phone.
Is he on hold?
If a
Or
Boy Scout helps a little old lady across the street, and then when they get to the other side, he says, "That'll be $5, lady," and she pays him. Was it a good deed?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. He's a mercenary. He's not a good boy.
That was
He's a
capitalism.
mercenary.
It was a
All right?
That's exactly what it was.
If
Capitalism.
if I'm walking down the street and I see an old lady waiting across the street and there's a Boy Scout there standing next to her, and I'm saying to the Boy Scout, "Hey, are you gonna help that little old lady across the street?" And Boy Scout says, "Fuck that bitch." So I pull out a gun and I put it to the Boy Scout's head and I say, "Help that little old lady across the street, or I'm gonna blow your brains out all over her." And so the Boy Scout helps the little lady across the street. Is he a good boy?
Still no.
Did he do a good deed? No, because he did it to avert punishment.
Yes.
So he's just being
Opportunistic.
he's being an opportunity. He's just defending. He's just protecting himself. He's protecting his own life.
to live.
He's just protecting his own life. He's not good. He fears death. He's a coward. That's all. I mean, maybe a very smart and sensible coward. Nevertheless, it's a smart person who's a coward, from bullets. Okay, but that's not a good deed. It's not a good deed. Anything that you do because you fear punishment is not a good deed. Anything that you do because of a reward that you expect to receive is not a good deed. So if there is going to be a reward for being a good person, Randy,
Yes.
I suggest that people who believe in the reward are disqualified from the reward. Because how can you say honestly that you're being good for no other reason than it's the right thing to do, and that good is good, and that goodness, and you're only going to be doing good things? Indeed, I say that the only people who have any chance of gaining a reward for being good are the people that do not believe that they will be rewarded firmly. That doing good, even though nowhere in their mind do they believe that they're going to be rewarded for it.
So just
They
doing
believe
good for the sake of
doing good
and because it's the right
because
thing
it's
to
the
do.
right thing to do, and because
Not
to be
because-
any other way would be a douchebag.
true.
And it's internal. It comes from them. Like they do good and it makes them feel good, or they do a bad thing and it makes them feel bad, so they don't do that anymore. And they go back to the person that they wronged and they make amends. It's like, man, dude, I shortchanged you before. You know, you asked me to break a 20 and I gave you $17 and you didn't count it. You put it in your pocket and I'm like, oh, free $3 and it's been here. So here's $5. Here's the 3 plus 2 more. Please just take it because it's tearing me up inside. Okay, that's good. That's a person being good, learning from their mistakes. That's a person with a conscience.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with, it's like, oh, do you believe, you gave that guy the $3 back because you believe that you're going to burn in hell. You're going to burn in hell if you don't. I go, no, I don't. I don't believe in hell, so I don't believe that I believe that I would have gotten away with it. I would have gained $3. That's all that I believe. But I couldn't, I couldn't live with myself because I don't want to go through life feeling like that kind of a person, like a thief. Okay, that's all. I don't believe in heaven or hell. That's all. Because I don't disbelieve in heaven or hell. I'm not saying that because I don't claim to be an atheist. An atheist believes in something. They believe in the absence of something. I am an anarchist, a pussy anarchist, as evidenced by Friday. Well, see, I was very distracted.
Anarchy!
Because Friday, here's what happened Friday.
patch.
When the cop was cussing me out to my face, I said, I'll have you know that I'm an anarchist.
Did you say that? Because all I really saw you do was politely put your cigar out and walk across the street.
Right, because I didn't have time for that shit.
There goes the anarchy.
Do tell, because there was a show after the show.
Oh, and
yeah,
all right, so we had a great show last Friday.
It was
with the two
awesome, and we were drinking.
Larry and Adam.
Larry and
Adam's
Adam.
birthday was yesterday.
Yes, I
Happy
saw
birthday,
that.
Adam.
So, all right, so we all go over to the cigar shop
store
on Harrison.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mauricio. Hey, how you doing, Mauricio? I'm not going over there if you got them pigs out there like you do.
Cool
Fucking
Colombian.
pig.
So all the gentlemen are
Mauricio.
sitting outside smoking their cigarettes. I'm there soaking up the
Cigars.
conversation and the coolness. And George takes a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
But this phone call
Lit me up.
is heard by all of Harrison Street from Dixie
Yeah.
Highway all the way to the beaches.
Bum,
This
bum,
man
bum.
is yelling on the phone.
Ah.
And I really did think to go over and say, hey,
Should've,
Georgie, hey, why don't we tone it down a little bit? You're at a 17.
I was
and we
under
need
the
you at a
influence
2.
of alcohol and anger.
Yeah.
A winning combination.
So
And
this
you
is,
think the
was one.
cigar would calm him down?
you'd think that.
No
You'd
chance.
think
But the thing was, it was loud, but it went on for a long time.
Yeah.
He was going at it for a good 15 minutes.
Was it that long?
Yeah, it probably
Well, it
was.
was actually 2 conversations, but nevertheless.
Well, they overlapped.
Yeah,
and
well,
it
I
just
was
escalated.
Right. It did.
The anger.
I was
The
very
anger was
upset,
exponential.
and for what it's worth, without going into details because it had to do with some personal shit. And how can I put this being PC? I have 2.5 daughters. I have 2 genetic daughters that I created with my own God power. All right? And then my middle child, my foster daughter, my younger daughter's best friend and nanny and mentor and template. My middle child, Danger Girl, that I go skating with. She goes skating with everywhere, everything together. The people that know me in my real life know exactly who I'm talking about. It was suggested, the phone call that I heard, I had one phone call that gave me some news that got me really upset, and then the person that this phone call was about called me, and that's when I launched into the person that I felt was responsible for negative things being said about my middle child, my foster child. Now, if you want to get on my bad side quick, you'll say something negative about this girl, and using my word. This is an expression of my own. This young girl, she's 16 now. I owe her a debt I can never repay. All right?
Lots of love there.
For what she has done in my life and in my daughter's life. And it's not just every parent wants their child to grow up good and well and healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy, and everything. So if you can point and isolate one person that has been nothing but a positive role model for your child's life, you're very grateful to that person as a parent. But it's not. She hasn't just been a positive person in my daughter's life, but myself personally. She's Robin to my Batman. My skating buddy, partner in
And
crime,
bodyguard.
and we do comedy routines and everything. She has whatever changed my life. My ex-wife, the children, the family. She's a ray of sunshine. I can't go on and on. For for anyone to suggest that she's anything other than perfect puts me on a very defensive mode. And when I hear that something negative might have happened towards her, then I get really upset. And we drank a lot. There was some drinking, so I was.
There wasn't a shortage of that.
I was kind of lit up. So anyway, I received a phone call that got me upset, and then the person with whom I was upset called and tried to tell me some things. And that's when I launched. That's when I went off. And boy, did I go off! And because we're talking, I was very upset because of what I had heard, and it's all straightened out, and I'm calm now, mostly.
So George is loud
so
and
I'm loud
angry
and
on Harrison Street.
Fucking you cocksucking fucking and I'm pacing because I do that when I'm on
the devil's dick.
You're sucking Satan's cock.
It was
and I turn around
until it became incredibly disruptive.
An asshole cop could have said, "Hey, buddy, shut it down."
It had passed that point.
Yeah, well, nobody. I didn't get so much as a look or a warning from anybody.
You didn't.
No, not a warning. Not a warning.
Just let you ride.
The Hollywood cop
came by, and
he didn't come by. He was sitting there at the next table. Next thing you know, he puts a necklace on. He puts his necklace on, which is his badge on it, and then he's way louder than I was. He's yelling in my face, and his spittles in my face, and everything. And I'm still on the phone call. Understand something, because here's what I saw. I was still really red-eyed and upset at the person who I was on the phone with.
And just a little tipsy.
Bad combination.
And so, if those two circumstances, if I hadn't been like all drunk and angry, I still would have done the same thing. Because you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the right. Hollywood cops are out of control these days. They're beating people up. People I know, they're doing all kinds of horrible things these days. What's up with the Hollywood cops these days?
I don't know.
Anyway, so this guy, get out of here, get the fuck out of here. Now he's being loud. He's being loud and cussing, and I'm thinking, hypocrite.
He's like, either you get out of here or you're getting out of here with me.
Yeah.
I'm taking you.
You get out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
He didn't curse.
He did so.
I don't remember.
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna arrest you for disturbing the peace. And he's being louder than me, and I'm like, man, there's so many things that went through my head, so many things that I could do and say right now. Hey, Randy, videotape.
I was sitting there just waiting to see what was going to happen, because we had just done the entire show with your anarchy. And
anarchy. Hey, Randy. Yeah. Hey, Randy, get your camera out and watch the whole anarchy thing. I'm going to put this on YouTube. This is going to be great. Let's see. First of all, surprise, because I'm pacing back and forth, and I do a turn, and he's right there in my face. And mine just, like, here's what was going on through my head. It's like, dude, I don't have time to deal with your horse shit right now. I'm on a phone call. All right? That's exactly what was going on in my face. Like, and the person on the phone with me hears the cop yelling at me and is like, okay, sorry, bye. And hangs up. And I'm like, all right, yeah, because I got to deal with this asshole.
I'm not done with you.
I got to deal with this asshole now. It's like, yeah. Because that was the only thing on my head is like, I got to leave this situation so that I can continue this phone call.
And you were like a little puppy that had been scolded, and you put your little tail between your legs and you ran across the street.
Yeah. Well, I didn't run across the street. I was still my lips were pursed. I was still very, very, like, in a rage. I was still very angry.
You were heated.
I put my cigar in the ashtray and I go, Randy, would you bring this to me when it goes out, please? And then I stormed across the street and back in here to finish the fucking phone call. Excuse me. Actually, and I called the other person back. There was a lot of back and forth going on for the rest of that day, and then it continued on Tuesday. I finally finished the phone call. Tuesday of the following, which would have been this Tuesday.
Right.
This previous Tuesday over there. Asshole cop, I remember you. Not that I'm not going to do anything. The karma gods will. God's going to punish that guy. He's going to give him ass cancer. You know that. Well, you haven't taken a break in a very long time. But the cops are assholes. And by the way, Mauricio, man, if you're going to have asshole cops out in front of your store all the time. By the way, there was a lot of hypocrisy going on. This is my city. And I said, it's my city too. Well, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out.
The issue was that there were children on the street.
There were no children. There were no children.
They were
smoking cigars.
It was our table, the other table. I was doing 360s. There were no children anywhere near me.
You were doing 360s and you were spinning. There were children. There were families walking up and down the street.
Okay. Anyway, well, this guy was cussing way louder than I was when he was cussing me out. He cussed me out for He cussed loudly because I was cussing loudly, which I thought was funny. And I pointed to my anarchy patch and said, I'm an anarchist. I don't have to respect your authority. No, I didn't.
That would have been hilarious.
I didn't have. Listen, we had post production to do up here. I had work to do, and
there was no time to be arrested.
I have cop friends and cop family members, and they have a saying: you can beat the rat, but you can't beat the ride. Like, you can get off on the charges or everything, but that doesn't mean that we're still gonna fuck your whole day up, driving you downtown and fingerprinting you and making you sit in a cell until somebody comes and gets your ass out of there. And cops use that, and that's why I post all these videos all the time on Facebook that you see cops beating this one and beating that one. You're not allowed to do that, asshole. You're not allowed to do that. We hire you, which brings us to the next thing. Remind me when we come back. NSA thing. People that we hire victimizing us. It really bothers me. Whether it's cops or the federal government or something, it really upsets me, which is why I declared myself as an anarchist. And where the hell is Christy with her vagina already? 110 on Waiting for Vaginas Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
Streaming live from the beautiful city of Hollywood, Florida, USA. This is SoFloRadio.com.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And in gym, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. The only thing I didn't learn in school today is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Can you tell if the leftovers from this dinner party are beginning to grow bacteria that could lead to severe diarrhea, vomiting, and stomach cramps? Listen. You can't see it either. Get leftovers into the refrigerator as soon as possible. Spoiled leftovers can make you very sick, or worse. Roughly 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year, but you can keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Do you have troubled skin, acne? With Proactive, you can heal your acne and help prevent new breakouts. Right now, in this radio area, we're looking for just 50 people with moderate acne to demonstrate exactly how fast Proactive works. The first 50 callers who qualify can try Proactive risk-free for 60 days.
Call 800-388-7152, 800-388-7152, 800-388-7152.
Moms of America, stand up and stop taking abuse from your kids. I'm Janet Lehman, co-creator of the Total Transformation Program. We created the Total Transformation to help parents with difficult child behavior. Now I'm giving it away free.
Call now for details, 800-349-8441, 800-349-8441, 800-349-8441, 800-349-8441. Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been served by your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Learn your rights now by calling the National Foreclosure Defense Hotline. 800-818-9735, 800-818-9735, 800-818-9735, 800-818-9735.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to the Moses Love Hour, filled with friends, live music, and conscious living. Take some time and come on the adventures aboard Mission Control. From the I Love Yoga studios in Dania Beach, Florida, USA. Streaming live Sunday nights from 9 to 10 on SoFloRadio.com.
Hey kids, there's a new cartoon show for you Sunday morning.
I'm Popeye the Holy Man. I live in the Vatican. Eat spinach for dinner, then bless all the sinners. I'm Popeye the Holy Man.
This week, Popeye baptizes Brutus.
Hey, Popeye, takes off that big dumb hat before I knocks it off.
Oh, yeah? Take this, you big palookas.
Holy water, Popeye.
And next week, Popeye hears Olive Oil's confession.
Oh, my gosh.
Be there, or be St. Peter's Square for
Popeye the Holy Man. How embarrassing.
Yeah, what are you doing in there? Talking to that guy. Sorry. Well, since you're down there. 117, SoFloRadio.com, George Rodriguez, Randy on the floor, Jack Frost over here. Two people with cool names that they don't have to change, but they do anyway. And here I am, a Schmendrick with a really horrible name that I should have changed a long time ago.
What, Ivan?
But I didn't, and this thing isn't working. And that's why you just watch us on the, we call it the Ustream feed. Go to SoFloRadio.com, and they're not hearing me. What can I say? And I can't connect to my home computer and turn it off. We're getting cock-blocked by our own computer.
Don't you hate that?
And by the way, something, everything that I said during my really angry, profanity-ridden tirade.
But entertaining.
That I said in anger and while under the influence.
Yes.
Meant every word of it.
Okay.
All right.
Drunk man doesn't tell.
That was the in vino veritas. No, I finished the conversation on Tuesday, and I apologized for being loud and profane, but I maintained that the points that I were making were very valid.
I'm just happy you didn't get arrested.
Yeah,
me too. So far, perfect record. Never been arrested. I took a ride in a cop car with my mom, but it was taxi service. In the hills of Appalachia and other small towns, the cops are more members of the community than they are just, these goons like you have down here, just people out trying to prove a point and push people around. I'm glad Justin Bieber got arrested. Now, let me just say this about that I'm not a Bieber hater, like everybody else is. I saw that video where those pictures of him spitting on the girls. Here's a kid that got out of control, but I like to do a little bit of research before I start criticizing people. And he is and was a child musical prodigy. He was discovered by Usher. Was he not? What are you pointing at?
Yes. Usher and Justin Timberlake.
They saw the videos of this kid. He was a little musical prodigy. He played any instrument that you put in his hands from the time he was a little kid. So the kid's got talent. But having a lot of talent doesn't give you the right to be an asshole. and it doesn't give you the right to drink and drive and drink underage and everything. And I might disagree with those laws. I do, Justin, just so you know. I disagree with the whole 21-year-old drinking age, but the drinking and driving, that's another thing. And they were racing these high-speed cars. You saw what happened to the one guy, the guy from the
in LA?
I can't think of his name, the drift car movie guy.
Oh, Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Oh, I thought
he wasn't even driving. But remember, by the way, because when we were talking about it on the show, I said there's Paul Walker living real life like he did in the movie, and he crashed and died, and I thought that he was driving. He was a passenger in the car where they were living life like it was a movie. They were still doing the same thing.
Hogan and his kid.
Oh,
kid.
Oh, what a piece of shit the whole Hogan family is, man, and his kid. I remember that
same area. Well, I don't know if it's the same area, but down in South Beach, he actually killed someone.
Yeah, right. Assholes.
Did some jail time for
being
that.
irresponsible.
Drag racing like that.
Sure.
Goodness.
Joe Costello would like to correct everyone who calls it drag racing. I'm going to channel
racing?
Joe Costello. It's street racing.
Street racing.
Drag racing. All right, and you can. I'm channeling
Is
Joe.
that
So
what
if you
Boca
argue,
Brit does? Drag racing.
That's right. It's all about how fast you can run in those heels. So, drag racing is a sport. This is what Joe Costello would say. No, street racing is an illegal activity. Drag racing is a sport where they use dragsters. Now, I don't want to invite an argument because at that point, people jump on Joe Costello's case and go, auto racing isn't a sport. And I don't want to get involved in that argument. They tried to suck me into that argument. And you want to know what I said?
What did you say?
Because what do you say, George? Auto racing, is it a sport or what? I go, well, I believe that if you are engaged in that activity, it's whatever you want to call it. And if you're watching other people engage in that activity, you're a fat fag. Because the person that was asking me was a fat fag.
Or the other thing. Oh, okay.
Because whatever, if you're engaged in some sort of an activity and you want to call it a sport, okay, fine, call it a sport. I don't care because you're doing it. Me as a spectator, I don't have the right to tell you that what you're doing while I'm watching is a sport or not. You understand? Like when I go skating, I don't say that I'm going like roller skating. I guess can be considered a sport. And because there's racing and there's competitions and there's figure skating and there's all kinds of stunts and tricks and everything like that. So, but you never hear me calling it a sport. It's play. You understand? I'm playing around. Like if we go skateboarding, and they do have skateboard competitions, so one can say skateboarding is a sport. But when I go to the park and I'm riding my skateboard, I don't go, I'm going to go and play a sport now, but I could, if I wanted to, say that I'm engaged in a sport. And if you aren't engaged in any sport whatsoever, you're just a spectator. Who cares what you think? And that's the point that I was trying to make to these people who were having the argument with Joe. I said, Joe is a racer. Joe is a race car driver. He actually gets out into the race car and straps himself into the harness and risks his life to compete with other people who are also risking their lives. So he can call it whatever the hell he wants to call it. He can call it Fred. He can call it Baba Ganoush. It's his right to call it whatever the hell he wants to call it, all right? You're a spectator. You're just a loser in the game of life. You just sit there by the sidelines watching other people do things, and then you point your finger at them and define it and critique it and judge and criticize. Yeah, you're a fag.
Criticize.
Closest you've been to a jockstrap is when you were huffing one.
Ungrateful sons of bitches.
So, Randy, back to role-playing, and I'm still trying to log onto my computer and just get the audio on.
Keep the dream
By the way, Jack, just know that we had some Jack feedback. You've been on the show for a while. People like tell me what is going on in the show. Jack talks too softly, and sometimes he mumbles. That's the feedback that I got about Jack.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So you need to sound off like you have a pair.
Sound off like I have a pair.
Or just be Morgan Freeman all the time, and that'd be pretty good.
I'd like to hear the feedback on that.
Positive, everybody. That's really good. Now, if he would just speak up. Yeah. I was telling my daughter when teaching her how to order food loudly, clearly, slowly, and I tried to tell my son-in-law that, and he ran out of the room crying. So.
Again?
Yeah, well, it's an all the time thing.
Still working on that, huh?
It's just God grant me the what is it? The patience to accept the things that I cannot change, the strength to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's what I have to say about that. Okay. Just
serenity.
Yes.
Serenity now.
Serenity now. So
Serenity
Randy, back to
now.
role playing. We're role playing with Randy. Randy, let's say that
I'm
you
the best playmate ever.
You win the lottery and you buy yourself some property and you know, nice house, maybe a little McMansion with a pool and some gardens, and you want to have some flamingos and things that you like, and you don't want people. You don't want people. Chickens, all right. And you put a wall around it because you don't want assholes just coming on your property and taking your chickens.
Yeah.
And things like that. And since you're going to be away from home sometimes,
traveling,
you hire a security guard.
Okay.
Okay. And let's say you have other staff too. You know, you say you just hire somebody to help take care of the house while you're gone. A little bit of maintenance here, a little bit of cleaning over there. Keep the doors locked. Make sure the alarm system is working. And then you write the security guard, the person that's supposed to be protecting your property, a list of do's and don'ts. You know, I want you to do this. I want you to patrol the neighborhood. The perimeter. I want you to take out the trash. I want you to make sure that the dishes are done. Make sure that the windows are closed when it rains, and this and that. These are the do's on the do's list.
Right.
And then here's on the don't list. Please don't wear my underwear.
I have to put that. That's
well,
not
why not?
assumed.
Just in case. Please don't go into my office and log onto my computer and read my email and share the choice emails with your friends. As a matter of fact, before I hire you, I'm going to have you swear an oath that you're not going to do that shit, because that would really bother me, because I'm a private person.
Do I have a history of this happening?
No.
Okay.
Maybe before you had a security guard and you came home one day and he was wearing your underwear, logged onto your computer,
again.
posting of the choicest ones on Facebook,
Underwear
on his Facebook
gnomes.
page. Yeah, I'm working for this lady, and look at this crazy shit that she's got.
Okay.
So I want you to swear an oath that, because I'm paying you, you understand? I want you to protect me, so I want to feel secure while I'm away from home, that you're not doing things that I don't want you to do. And I'm a private person. I really don't want you going onto my personal desktop computer over here, hacking into it and reading my emails and going through the naked pictures and my naked selfies of myself and sharing that information with your friends or making that stuff public. That would really bother me if you did that. So I actually, not only do I want it in writing that you're not going to do it, but I want you to swear an oath that that you're not going to do that. Okay. Could you do that?
Am I me or am I the security guard?
No, you're you. You're you. All right. So the security guard goes, okay, I'm going to sign a contract where I promise that I'm not going to do all of the shit on your don'ts list, and then I'm also going to swear an oath that says that I'm not going to do the things on your don'ts list. Okay.
Yes.
And then you come home.
That makes me feel secure.
And there he is wearing your underwear.
Damn it.
On your computer.
No.
Yeah. Going through your email.
Why? But you swore an oath to me, security
see,
guard.
here's the thing. I decided, you told me to protect you. So what I'm doing is I'm going through your email to see if I can discover who likes you and who doesn't like you. And I'm also going through your Facebook friends, and I'm checking up on them to see if they are good or bad people, because they might want to do you harm. So I'm just trying to protect you.
Precautionary measures.
This is
that's
terrible. I don't know. Your precautionary measures make me feel very unsafe, very insecure. Just the opposite of what I'm hiring you to do.
Really, I don't know. I'm very hurt and offended by that, because all I want to do is have a really good, clear picture of your friends and enemies, so that I can be on the lookout for enemies. Like if I should see one of your enemies walking up and down the street, then I'll know to really watch them or something, or maybe shoot them.
That is what I do with my friends. That is none of your business, Mr. Security Guard.
Well, I'm just not so much concerned about your friends as I am about your enemies. I'm trying to,
decipher.
Yeah, I think I just figured out how to disable my computer at the apartment. So, so I'm doing this for your own good. And you shouldn't be angry with me. You should be really thankful.
But I am angry with you. I am not thankful at all. And Mr. Security Guard, you are now fired.
No, you're not going to fire me, because while I was looking through your stuff, I found a whole lot of stuff that you don't want out there. And if you fire me, guess what? I'm going to put it all out there. Including some embarrassing things.
Well, what can I possibly do? What can I do?
Oh, you can suck it. Here, how do you like my underwear?
Nope.
They're yours. They're the pink ones with the frill.
Oh.
With the frills around the edge. This is why I'm
Mr.
upset.
Security guard, don't like you at
Nice
all.
analogy. It's obviously paper thin analogy over here. So what the government is doing, we hire them. See, we hire them to do a job for us, and we make them swear an oath that they won't do these things. They swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, and the Fourth Amendment quite specifically guarantees our right to privacy. And the reason that the Founding Fathers wrote that in there is because they wrote a document to protect themselves from the government. The Constitution isn't this piece of paper that tells the people what they're supposed to do. It's a piece of paper that tells the government what they're not allowed to do, because the Founding Fathers had just gotten done overthrowing an oppressive government. The American Revolution wasn't a war against a foreign power. It was a war of the people against their own government, their own legal government at the time. And not everyone was on board. The American revolutionaries were called traitors by the loyalists. How do you like that as a nice name calling? The people that were loyal to the crown, they had a nice, wonderful, positive name like loyalists.
Mm-hmm.
We're being loyal, just like the word patriot. And Patriot Act sounds all nice and positive, doesn't it? We're being loyal. You people are seditionists. You're traitors. You're committing treason. You understand? You people are bad people for wanting to overthrow the government. But the government was bad. King George was crazy, a crazy bad man. He needed to be overthrown. He needed to be driven out of the colonies. That was a good thing. I don't think that there's an American alive today. Well, maybe in retrospect, because boy, I could use some of that universal British healthcare system if we were still a British colony. What do you think? Wouldn't that be nice?
Perhaps.
But for the most part, we as Americans, when they teach us about the American Revolution in school, they don't teach us that it was a bad thing. They don't say that it was an act of treason by a bunch of scurvy seditionists. They say it was freedom fighters fighting for their freedom, overthrowing the oppressive yoke of the crown of England. That's what they say. They put it in a very positive light, and it was a positive light. It was a good thing to revolt against a government. And among other things, and of course, we have the Boston Tea Party taxation without representation. They all explain that to us, right? We all know that they were charging us taxes, but we weren't represented in Parliament, so that was taxation without representation, and that was wrong. But what else was going on that was wrong? The British Crown had all these arbitrary rules that they had been levying against the colonists from the very beginning. Once upon a time in the colonies, they weren't allowed to buy metal tools from England because England believed that if the colonists had metal tools, they would be able, correctly, to forge their own weapons and then overthrow them. So they weren't allowed to have metal tools. They had to just scrape with, it was like Stone Age. And if you actually had like a real axe or a hammer or something like that, you had to have a special dispensation. You had to be working for the crown, or you had to like a license. You had to be a specially licensed contractor to have all those contracting tools and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So all these arbitrary restrictions, because the crown didn't consider the colonies like this is a great place where we're sending people. They would send the indentured servants over there to work off their sentence. They would send prisoners to be punished. The colonies were not something that was just a resource gathering thing for them. The British Crown did not consider the colonies like England. This is part of England. This was some holdings that England had, and the people out there in the colonies, you work for the Crown. You do things for us. It's your job to deliver goods to the Crown, all right, and increase the holdings of the Crown. So and the people in the colonies didn't like that. So when they did overthrow the government, they wrote the Constitution so that the future government would know, look, and among other things, by the way, the British soldiers were allowed to enter anyone's house at any time, and they did not have to give you a reason. And the colonists were not allowed to have firearms, and they had to go off. So they would confiscate people's guns. And the British soldiers would go through the houses of who they believed were revolutionary leaders and seditionists and look through their papers, which is why the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, says secure in your papers, because the British soldiers would go through your papers. They would go through your papers to see if you were writing letters or receiving letters from people using seditionist language, talking about overthrowing the crown and talk about forming a nation of your own. The British government would do that. The British soldiers would routinely go from house to house very systematically, searching for evidence of sedition. Yeah. They didn't have necessarily a suspicion. They would just blanket entire areas and do house-to-house searches looking for incriminating evidence. And if they found any of those seditionist letters or seditionist papers, they would, haul you off and have you imprisoned or shot or something like that. So the founding fathers of the United States of America wrote a Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and the Fourth Amendment is in there that says you are entitled to privacy. You're entitled to a private life. And the government, and we've been so conditioned over the years to believe that a government is this entity that we are supposed to respect and obey. And that's backwards. The government is this entity that is supposed to respect and obey us, the will of the people, the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. They're supposed to be following our orders, not the other way around. And they are supposed to write laws and enact laws to protect us, and the guidelines about what laws they can pass is the Constitution. You cannot pass a law that violates any of these things. And as far as the NSA goes, they didn't even write a law to allow themselves to do that. They just did it. They just up and did it one day. It was like the FCC censoring language. There wasn't a bill before Congress that changed the function of the SEC from regulating power, broadcast power and frequency, to regulating language, censoring speech, which is, again, protected by the First Amendment, but don't bother these people with that. They just up and decided one day to start fining people for saying shit. And then when it was challenged, then they decided, we'll make a law about it. So the president, I missed his speech the other day. I don't know if you saw it last week, sometime earlier in the week, about the NSA. Mm-hmm. But I was listening to Nicole, and she was going over some of the stuff. Unacceptable. They're only going to keep the records for 3 years now, and there's going to be a special court, a special dispensation. It's fucking illegal to be gathering that information in the first place. Government isn't a god. Government isn't this special robot. Government isn't a monster. Government is a bunch of assholes. It's a bunch of people who you hire to do a particular job. People don't have the right to look at your underwear. People don't have a right to look at your letters. People don't have the right to look in your computer and on your hard drive. And the excuses that they are issuing, well, we're doing this to protect you from the terrorists. Fuck you. Fuck the terrorists and fuck you. You're the responsible for the terrorists in the first place. How about just, if you're worried about terrorism, and people in the government are not. That's a wonderful...
It's a ruse.
It's the ist of the day. When I was growing up, it was the communists. Mm-hmm. Because we have to resist the communists. So therefore, that's why we have to do this and we have to do that.
Socialists.
Yeah.
Socialist.
Same thing.
Marxist.
So now we have terrorists. That's the ist of the day today. That gives
times.
us the right to, but the Constitution doesn't say that. I'm looking through my Constitution. It says I have the right to privacy. I have the right to be secure in my own papers. It doesn't say, there's no asterisk there that's read the bottom. Unless, of course, the government tells you that it's for your own good. Unless, of course, that in case of terrorism, this document shall be null and void. And unless, of course, and they're doing it in broad daylight. And they don't care. This NSA complex, somebody posted something. It takes 1.2 billion gallons of water a day to cool the servers. They have water-cooled servers that are processing this information so very quickly, data mining, cherry-picking information, looking for buzzwords here and there. This, assholes.
George, I can't believe I'm going to use this as a example point, but I was watching Iron Man 3 recently.
Okay.
And they have a Bin Laden-like character, and the reason why I'm pointing it out is that the villain, the Mandarin, exactly,
Ben Kingsley,
right?
Horrible movie, by the way.
Well, the concept, as far as one of the things that Guy Pearce's character who plays the villain, he says the people need a villain.
I really like Guy Pearce too.
So yeah,
you ever see Memento?
Memento, yeah, great movie.
Give me a headache.
What?
Seriously.
Imagine what he was going through the movie. The quote he said, as far as creating a villain, the people needed a villain to go up against, and he created it so he can infiltrate the military industrial complex. And that's kind of what I'm seeing now with the whole NSA thing is that I have to create this villain. I have to create this villain that the masses will go against. So, I could swoop in and be the hero. And that's what I kind of see with this whole NSA thing, what you were saying with the Patriot Act. It's a similar thing where this villain, and it's gone way back, as you pointed out in history, we have to create this villain that the people could mass against and overrule or overthrow. And it's a formula. It's tried and true. It hasn't been broken yet.
No, because they do it. They do it all the time. It's happened. It's a script, and somebody I shared their Facebook meme thing. Loving Facebook. Still miss MySpace. But, you don't have that anymore, so it's Facebook.
Wait, is it gone? Is MySpace gone?
The formula,
No,
it's changed, and all your stuff is gone. All the stuff that you had on there is gone.
No.
It's horrible now.
NSA got it now.
Yeah, they can have it.
Yeah.
They can just stay on there all they want. It's like this same script over and over again. First of all, our media, and I'm watching CNN. I don't have a choice. I'd have to upgrade my cable package to get to just headline news or something. It's the same. It is so obvious anymore because it repeats so often that it is so obviously a smokescreen for what's really going on.
Yep.
Jobs. They keep throwing the jobs in America. Like, if you watch the news, you would be convinced that all of America is unemployed. That
it's a wasteland.
90% of America is unemployed because all of the news and all of the politicians' speeches and everything's concerned with jobs. It's jobs bill and creating jobs, and and they do speeches that Americans are interested in jobs. Unemployment is like 10%. I mean, 90% of Americans have a job.
I don't even think it's that much.
All right, so it's not. It's like 7, maybe, whatever.
And Florida is like number one.
The point is, most of us aren't worried about jobs. Most of us have jobs. Americans are concerned with jobs. Like, no, we're not. That's what you were told. That's what you're told to tell everybody.
It's on your bullet points.
Americans want to be rich. We don't want a job. We want the same thing the rich people have. Riches. We want to be able to sit on our asses, suck on mimosas off the back of our yachts like they do. We don't want to work at all. We don't want a job. We don't want a job. Talk about social engineering and mental programming. A good job. Go to a job. Go to college so you can get a good job. Get a good job. Nobody wants a fucking job. They want to be rich so that they don't have to work a job.
And why do people go to college? They go to college so they can be rich.
So they can be rich.
But instead, they go to college and they end up in debt because they're chasing after this dream.
And then you have to stay in school in order to not pay it back.
And you can't file bankruptcy.
You can't file bankruptcy, and then you just end up. So you have more people going through this whole system and more people getting into debt, chasing after this dream, when the people who are in charge are the only ones that are able to win the game because they wrote the fucking rules.
Yeah, they're signing the grants.
Speaking of bankruptcy, have I said lately that my divorce lawyer, Alex, is a fucking faker? And not only should he not be a lawyer,
are you going to get him disbarred?
I don't think I would love to. I'd love to sue him.
Except we live in Florida.
Faker. What a faker. So you know that company that poisoned the water in West Virginia?
Uh-huh.
They filed bankruptcy.
Of course they did.
Students can't file bankruptcy to get out from under their student loan.
But you can poison an entire state.
Poison an entire state, right? And then file bankruptcy and say,
what the fuck?
Nuts to you. This is where we live. They had
what the fuck?
And the teabaggers and all these people. They, the EPA is a bad thing. We don't want any of these environmental protection rules. They inhibit industry. This is what you get. Company and again, it's the incentive system. When you have a for-profit prison system, you have an incentive to put people in jail when we as a society should be striving.
I'm gonna get heated, George.
Oh, really? Baby.
Yeah.
I'll go into the table with you this time. It's not a camera
off with their heads. Who allows this to take place? It is immoral. It is immoral to do that. How are you going to have a for-profit prison system? You're going to make up rules to just throw people in jail because people are getting paid.
You know how, Randy? Because we as a society said that it was okay to have a for-profit war system. If war is profitable to some people, to certain people, those people will do everything they can to keep wars waging. And if people profit from people going into prison, those people are going to be very active in trying to get people into prison, when as a society we should be trying to avoid putting people in prison. We should try to preventative measures to make sure that people don't wind up going in prison in the first place.
And the preventative measures would be education, healthcare,
right. Opportunity.
Right. job creation,
Rehabilitating. I
growth.
mean, that would be,
Goodness.
that's what you would imagine the purpose would be. I mean, you have some people that are just, there is no changing them.
I don't believe in rehabilitation anyway.
Really?
No.
Off with their heads.
Off with their heads. Or with their eds.
So you just have mass executions for people that were supposed to be in jail?
No. I mean, that's a figure of speech, but I don't believe in rehabilitation because I don't believe that people who I don't believe that there's a cure for assholism. I don't believe that people who victimize people, and this is what I'm talking about, there are crimes and there are victimless crimes. People who believe that it's okay to take something that belongs to someone else, you can't send them to a class or to a therapist or to a program that is going to change their mind about whether or not that is wrong. They committed that act in the first place because they believed that they're entitled to someone else's property. What I want is more important than your right to ownership. And there's no cure for that mentality. Punish that person. Put them on the other side of a tall wall. That's a bad brain. That's bad brains.
Yeah, but you're talking about the prison.
They have to pay their debt to society. And I don't disbelieve in just prisons like willy-nilly out in prisons. I disbelieve in for-profit prison. That when people, and it does cost the taxpayer dollars because these for-profit prisons, they get taxpayer money and then they also make money with slave labor. They pay these prisoners pennies on the dollar to make license plates or whatever. They do anything. They do farming. They have factories. They have prison factories. They do everything. And why not? This is going to become. We already have the largest imprisoned population in the world by far, by a long shot. And
So really,
it's going to be like a science fiction movie.
Slavery really never went anywhere. Slavery really. Well, God, what are you doing
Gonna hit
there?
you in the nose with that.
Careful.
No, it just changed because the people, the slave owners and the people with that mentality, they didn't go anywhere. They needed to have their heads cut off.
They adapted.
There is a saying you might have heard people say. Somebody said, well, if all the wealth was distributed evenly, within 10 years, all of the people that have all of the wealth now would have it all back again. Have you heard people say that?
No.
Oh. Well, they think they're making their point, okay? Because, let's not argue with that. The point that they're making is the people that have all the wealth now represent people that are good at making money, that are good at acquiring wealth. And I say, right, yes, correct you are. The people that have a lot of money are the people that are good at acquiring money. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that they're good at curing cancer. That doesn't mean that they're good at building buildings. That doesn't mean that they're good at coming up with philosophies that benefit mankind or anything else, growing crops or transporting food from one place to another. That means they're good at shaving pennies. That means they're good at hoarding. That means they're good at acquiring. And that is not a skill that serves society. So they don't deserve to be a class unto themselves. They don't deserve to be in charge of us. This is supposed to be a democracy and a representative form of government, meaning that the people that we put into office are supposed to represent us. They're supposed to be of us and represent our interests.
Well, playing devil's advocate, you could have a situation where the people that do know how to build buildings and do know how to find a cure for cancer might not necessarily know how to shave pennies. So
they don't. You can't be good at everything.
Right. So you have the people that do shave pennies collaborate with the people that do know how to build buildings and so on and so forth. And that's where the collaboration comes from.
Yeah, but the moment that the person that has the good, strong financial mind is doing more for themselves than they are for society as a whole.
And that's the problem.
Then yes, that is the problem.
They always are. There are people. It takes a lot of people, different kinds of people, to make the world go round. Not everybody is good at pottery. Some people are. Some people aren't. Not everybody is good at painting pictures. Not everyone is good at skateboarding. Everyone is born with a different skill set. The people that are good at acquiring, they acquire. And that doesn't mean that they deserve it. That doesn't mean that they deserve to be in charge of us. And as far as that analogy, within 10 years those same people will have it all back again. Exactly. You're actually disproving your point. You're not making the point that it ought to be that way. You're making the point that it ought not be that way. It ought not be that way because those people, when they acquire all that good and all that wealth, they just keep it. They just use it to enjoy their own life. Look at Justin, $75,000 at the King of Diamonds. You know what? He's stimulating that economy.
Yeah.
There's
there's
a whole bunch of strippers that are running around buying new shoes.
He's making
the
it
day
rain.
After that.
He's definitely making it rain. Yeah.
So
have you ever been in there? Have you ever been in KOD?
No.
I've been before it was KOD.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it was a mega church.
Was it a mega church?
No,
Please say it's true. Oh my God.
No, it was the crazy saloon before it became KOD.
I've
Same
never
Russians.
been in there. I just imagine the amount of trafficking that goes through that place.
Have you been Tootsie's?
The new Tootsie's, yes, I have.
Yeah, it's basically the black Tootsie's.
Another like brothel.
Pretty
Is it a brothel? Because Tootsie's is a brothel. You can't tell me that place is not a brothel.
I mean, they got skyboxes up in Tootsie's. I mean, I wouldn't imagine what would be happening in those skyboxes.
Goodness gracious.
There is I guess you could call it a brothel.
Denizen.
A denizen. Good one.
Ugh.
I'm leaving myself out of the strip club conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably best. Sorry. No, it's not a good time. It makes me kind of sad.
What?
Makes me a little
strip
sad.
clubs?
Strip clubs.
It's a sad dynamic.
This would be a great topic for Christy to talk about.
Yeah, but she's not answering phones
Christy,
or texts.
call on the Skype.
Something.
Yeah, I know. No, and speaking of calling on Skype, is the Skype on?
Skype is on. Skype
Okay,
is
because I
on
was
and
going to
ready.
have Kenny DJ Special K was almost arrested. A lot of people getting
What?
almost arrested. That was last week. I think
Quotas
it was
must be
Friday or
low.
Saturday Night Carnage, DJ Carnage at Club Cinema, and he'll tell you the whole story. But they arrested Carnage and Kenny's microphone, DJ Special K's microphone. They impounded his microphone.
Why?
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those things.
That's crazy.
I don't know. It's very crazy
Well,
these days.
What was? I can't believe I missed it.
Yeah, well,
but I'm kind of
next
happy
time.
that I did that.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, the city of Pompano was saying that speaking of Den of Sin, that what goes on in Club Pompano is that a lot of teenagers go there and they do drugs.
No.
Okay, where are they not doing that?
No idea. I've never
That's.
seen any
I think
such
that's
thing.
all of South Florida.
That the
For all
teenagers
those,
do
there's the teenagers out there who have managed to stay away from drugs and alcohol. God bless you. Keep it going.
What? Who are they?
I've
the
It's
Galactic
a miracle.
Girls. The Galactic Girls.
It's a miracle. It's basically a rite of passage for living down here. You know, you turn 12, and
You're popping mollies.
basically.
Passe.
Yeah.
It's so.
We grew up in the freaking Girls Gone Wild generation. I'm
Mm.
surprised that all of us aren't in a porno right now.
Well, you
Right
have
now.
homemade videos. You have homemade videos.
That's right.
yeah.
Well, your security guard posted them on Facebook.
with his panties. Well,
I
your
saw that
panties
while he
on.
was wearing your panties. Right. There's that one
Goodness
of you with the
gracious.
sheep. That was one of my favorites.
Why are they always taking my panties?
I told you, you buy those panties,
Ugh.
they're gonna get stolen. They're just waiting. Who knows? I had my underwear stolen. How you doing out there, Jamie? Jamie stole my underwear. They were really nice.
And
they were
this
silver
is-
with a light red lightning bolt across the crotch.
And this is why I'm still a practicing Catholic.
Because of the panties.
Because of everything.
But they're
so I can go be forgiven.
But they don't. But they don't hold the keys. The people that you're talking about, and I'm talking about people. Back to where we were at the beginning. The people that
Mhm.
you're talking about.
Yes.
They are not in contact with God.
But they
They
have all the
say they are.
But they have all the robes and the incense
But you,
and the
they-
candles.
we could drive to the store where they sell those things.
I actually get a
As an-
catalog that's delivered to my house.
Right. You know my communion wafer container
Yes, I do.
was bought at that store. When the person gave it to me, he gave it to me with reloads. Communion wafers, including, like, there was a variety. I got regular, whole wheat, and gluten-free.
Gluten-free Jesus? Get out.
Jesus crackers.
Because can you imagine somebody going to communion and just foam out the mouth and having a really bad negative reaction to
yeah.
the body of Christ?
That probably does happen.
You're going to have to play Christ-a-roni.
Christ-a-roni?
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna play
in a
who-
bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
My
On it.
thing, because back to the conversation, not right now, during the next break, we'll take a break in a few. The conversation that was having, it's like, because see, it's a very obvious no-brainer that if we were created by a divine being, there's no way that we're not going to be grateful for that. But what's going on is you have all these men, and with very few exceptions, it was men who tell other men and women what God wants them to do. And I'm really, really offended by the people who say that. And other people get offended that I'm offended. And they go, and it's really,
Blasphemer.
it's an amazing magical thing. The magical thing that they do is by speaking words, they make you think that they are closer to God than you are. By saying certain words to you, they don't have any power that comes from God. They have not received any communication from God. They have not received any inspiration from God, and they can't do any of the magical things that their magic book says that they ought to be able to do if they believe these things. But they do have the power to make you think, actually, you give them this power, that they know something, that they are closer to God than you, that they've had conversations with God, but they haven't had any contact with God. They have contact with your wallet. They have contact with your pocketbook. They have contact with your conscience. This is the connection that they've made. They made a connection with you. They haven't made a connection with God. How do I know?
George,
ask God. He'll
George,
tell you that he hasn't delivered a message anyway. For example, the Bible.
But what about the power of words? I mean, even in the beginning of the story of the Bible, God speaks existence into speaks creation into existence.
Right.
And people and that whole study of like NLP, people are able to neurolinguistic, I don't know what it is exactly, programming, where people can speak and suggest things. So it's like almost like Inception. They plant seeds of thinking into your head, into your brain.
What about it?
Well, just like people can take power over you with using words. There are actual power with
George,
words.
yes and no.
To take it,
you understand that not without your help.
I guess you have to be susceptible.
Yeah, you have to allow it.
No, not allow. You do it. You don't allow it. You do it. That would be like saying, I'm allowing that person to make me dig a ditch. No, you're not allowing it. You're doing it. You give them the power.
How are you not allowing?
No, you don't allow.
You give them the power.
To allow something is to be passive and let something happen. You're not being passive and letting something happen when someone takes control over you. You are doing it. You're not being passive or allowing it. All right? Like if I allow you to go to the bathroom, that just means that I don't stand in the door. Okay? But you're the one going to the bathroom. All right?
Maybe I'm
just not stopping you.
Exactly.
You're
not
the
resisting.
one that is making it happen. All right? It's like this. Tell me to throw this thing across the wall, across the room, or anything. Here, I have a bottle cap. Tell me to throw the bottle cap across the room.
You know what, George?
What?
The power of the Lord says, if you throw that bottle cap across the room, you'll be fairly divine.
Yeah.
in what you do.
The power of the Lord says. I mean, you're a lying son of a bitch.
Well,
I think you're lying to me right now. So you're not allowing. To allow is to let something happen. You are being active. You are doing it. And why are you doing it? Because you want it to be true.
Because you believe in fairies and you don't want Tinkerbell to die.
Let us consider the accurate use of the English language. And faith, the word faith, because this is a trick that these fakers pull on you. They say you have to have faith in God, have faith in God, have faith in God, have faith in God. Okay, wonderful. I do. I have faith in God. You, however, I'm calling a bullshit artist. You, the person talking, because you're a person in the room talking. I have ultimate faith in God, nothing but universal 100% faith in God. I do everything God tells me to do, and I don't deny anything that God has ever told me. You, however, are a lying sack of shit. The person speaking, there's a difference. For example, if I tell you a story about a giant lumberjack. All right? Yes. Hey, Randy, when I was in Montana, they had this giant lumberjack. Giant lumberjack. Yeah. And I didn't make this story up.
Who's mumbling now?
Name of Paul, and he has this big ox that he runs around with, and he's a giant lumberjack. And
Blue
you
ox.
say...
Whoa, really?
Really, you say that?
No, I'd be like,
you
bullshit.
Say, bullshit. I go, why don't you have faith in Paul Bunyan?
I've never seen this giant lumberjack or his blue ox.
You say, I can't have faith in Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan isn't talking to me right now. I'm not calling Paul Bunyan a liar. I'm calling you a liar. The person talking about Paul Bunyan. You are not Paul Bunyan. And you say that you represent Paul Bunyan, but that's just you talking. These people, you understand that nothing is stopping you from following God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing is stopping you from following God. You understand this, right?
I do.
But whenever you do something that came from a human mouth or a human pen, you are not following God. You are following a human. So you can follow God or you can follow humans. And the difference is quite clear. If what you're doing because you read it in a book, you're following humans. If what you're doing because it's something that a human told you to do, you're following humans.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this by elimination. If you're doing something that a human told you to do, the chances that you are following God are 0 because a human told you that.
Even if that human is following God?
How do you know that human is following God?
Well, they told me.
They told you. So you're following the human.
They said they were.
So you're following the human.
So George, go back.
The only way that you can really follow God is at no point to do what the humans tell you to do. If you're going to do something that a human tells you to do, you should do it based on the logic of what that human is telling you. Eat fiber, Randy. I'm a human, and I'm suggesting that you eat fiber. It's good for your colon. Sure. Okay. So now, when you eat fiber, you're saying, I'm eating fiber. George suggested that I eat fiber, and I agreed with him. There was logic in what he said.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not doing what God told me to do, because God didn't tell me to eat
God
fiber.
also wants to eat fiber.
Probably.
That's why he put so much of it here.
I agree. I ate a lot of fiber last night. Boy. This morning, Dreamfield low-carb pasta. You know why it's low-carb? Because it's high fiber.
Oh, that's
amazing stuff. You can have spaghetti and poop, too. So you don't have to
That's
be
a
all
happy
bound
colon,
up. It
man.
is. It's,
Two
it's
for
a
one.
win-win
Happy
situation.
Well, George, to go back to an old point you had, as far as why these people would be compelled to come up with these reasons of why God said you're supposed to do it, who knows where these people were at some point in their life when they allowed God to come in. She was a whore. He was in jail. He did a lot of philandering in his life, and now he found.
Yeah.
And why is it
I don't
that,
believe
like,
them.
Why is it always like the biggest, baddest criminal ends up being the main pastor at some mega church?
Hey, it's the funniest.
Why are you following that person?
Because there's no such thing as an honest clergyman. That's why. And you know how
Like,
I know that?
I used to be a
You know
criminal.
how I know that?
I used to gangbang.
You know how I know?
and Steal cars. Now, welcome to my church.
You know how I know there's no such thing as an honest clergyman?
How?
Hey, God, how
Yes,
many
George?
human beings did you tell another human being? None. 0.
Actually, George,
God has
plenty.
never told anyone to tell someone else something. Ever. Ask him if you don't believe
What about
me.
Moses and who
Those-
went up to the mountain and
Moses?
brought back?
Story?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a story that some person told you.
But there was a bush and it was burning.
Yeah.
According to the story.
Hey, Hercules is the son of Zeus.
She dropped the drink in her lap, and then she was by the fire. It's 2:01 on all Flaming Bush Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Welcome to today's lottery drawing. And today's winning numbers are not yours, not yours, and another number that's not yours. And the final number is not yours.
When it comes to having money, don't rely on luck. Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering it. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
This is the sound of a flat-screen television hurled off a building. Now the new bike your kid wants. These are the things you could have, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Use Energy Star light bulbs and appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait, hold on. I just got a text. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Busy me. So, anyway...
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. My friends keep commenting on my comment. Oh, there's another one. So many comments on my comment.
Oh, I can't wait to watch TV tonight. Playoffs!
Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Pew, pew. Wait, Mom, what?
What? Hold
What'd you say? Wait a second, what?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Say, remember when radio was fun? Now it's dead.
Because deregulation has allowed one massive corporation to spread its tentacles like a giant octopus, absorbing radio stations around the globe. And that's why you hear this.
SoFlo Radio will stand and fight the corporate monolith. SoFloRadio.com. SoFloRadio.com.
Look out! It's another drag racing commercial! With two obnoxious announcers screaming at the top of their lungs! Cranking up the reverb and echo! And don't forget those ear-piercing sound effects! Why do we sound so excited? Because we're recording this commercial on a Sunday! And that means we're getting triple scale! Just for saying dumb names like Shirley Cha-Cha Muldowney! And Big Daddy Don Garland! And talking at 200 words per minute! Oh, when my throat feels like I swallowed burning nitro funny fuel! And I've got a headache that's blowing my doors off! Because doing this type of idiotic commercial is an all-out drag!
Sugar in my hair, melting everywhere in the sunshine. Watch the sun go down while my face starts to crystallize. You could be the one to make me feel alright. Take me anywhere, I wanna be your guide. I can't go through without you. It's holding me back. It's all I can do. Blazing for you. Blazing for you. Blazing for you. Sugar in my hair, melting everywhere in the sunshine. Watch the sun go down while my face starts to crystallize. You could be the one to make me feel alright. Take me anywhere, I wanna be your guide. I can go through without you. It's holding me back. It's all I can do. Blazing for you. Blazing for you. Blazing for you. Oh, blaze. I can't go through without you. It's holding me back. It's all I can do. I'm coated in love, the heat from above. It's all for you. It's all I can do. Blazing for you. Blazing for you. Blazing for you. Blazing
Tired of the same boring old communion wafers at holiday mass? Open wide, Billy, and prepare to receive thy Savior.
Oh, geez, Father O'Malley, wafers again?
Now, Billy, this isn't just any wafer.
It's not?
No, through the divine miracle of transubstantiation, I've turned this ordinary wafer into the divine blessed body of Christ.
Well, why does the body of Christ have to taste so yucky?
Spice up your next communion with new Christ-A-Roni. Christ-A-Roni is a special blend of rice, spices, and seasonings, plus a bit of the body of Christ in every fluffy forkful. And Christ-A-Roni cooks up perfect every time, as he should.
Can I have some more Christ, Father?
That's Christ-A-Roni, Billy.
Amen to that.
Christ-A-Roni, the transubstantiation treat.
Hallelujah.
So I like
Oh,
to
my
remind people, I call them
goodness.
the cannibal Catholics. And I like to remind people that, if you're not a Catholic, you're just, your priest doesn't have magic powers. Your pastor, your clergyman doesn't have magic powers, not like the Catholic priests have, because they have the power of transubstantiation,
Yes,
where that
they
can actually
do.
turn the symbolic cracker into a real, actual flesh, which is funny because all the times that I've been to communion, it still tastes like rice to me.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay.
You can turn your headphones up.
Oh,
your
you turned
headphone
my-
pod. I did because it was feeding out of the
Yeah,
little thing.
turns me down
so
in my
yeah,
head.
so down the side speaker's not over there, and it's 211 SoFloRadio.com. And Christy didn't show up. Hey, Christy, I'm officially peeved because she said that she would come by, and I'm glad I didn't do a Facebook blast, but I was going to, and that's what I was going to say is
Maybe
we
that
got
would have
Christy
gotten
Virginia,
her in here.
and I would have booked a guest, but she was going to be on here. I was going to arrange for Rob from Daily Beer Review to come in, and we were going to sample some Thai beer from Chang Beer. From I was going to get a favorite name. All right,
Chang Beer.
The representative. Now I can't talk. The
Christy.
the representative
Mhm.
Intuan Punsawat and she's going to be on the show at some point.
Into
She's
what?
just,
Twat?
she's a
Oh,
I
hey,
cannot
hey now.
believe that you're making
Hey
fun of this
now.
wonderful married woman's name
No,
here on the
I'm
radio
asking a
show.
question.
Could
Could you
you mark
repeat
that
that
as like a
again?
212? Jack made fun of Intuan's name, and
Repeat
I'm
the
going to
name
send her
again.
a clip of that, and then I'm going to send a copy to the NSA.
They already got it. Too late.
Intuan Punsawat.
Intuan Punsawat.
Punsawat. Intuan
Punsawat.
Punsawat.
Oh my
Punsawat.
goodness.
Yes, she's
That does sound like a
wonderful person.
punchline to a joke.
It does anyway.
But
and
it's an actual
my
name of a human.
True story, and I'll
Punsawat.
repeat it when she's in the studio. You know, the 11-year-old likes to make videos on Go Animate. She likes to make animated videos. You create a character, assign a voice, dress them up, and then have them do stuff in the video. She saw Intuan's name on my Facebook. She likes to look over my shoulder and ask me about people's names, and she likes unusual names. So she made a character called Intuan, and she's there, immortalized on Go Animate or something like that, or at least it was until she deleted the video or something. But
Toy Boy also made a video on Go Animate.
really, she tries to get me to do it all the time. It's like she's already past me. It's already over my head. But when last time that Rob was here, we were talking about all malt beer, and it is, to my understanding, that Chang beer is an all malt beer, and it's not dark like Guinness, which is great. It's a relatively light beer, good on a summer day. But Rob, who does daily beer reviews, all malt beers and beer, and I said, well, I'll let you decide once we get you over here. 954-99-0036, that's the number if you want to call. Maybe Kenny DJ Special K will call in. I should have sent him a text during that break, but I was too busy trying to get us on the air. So
Hey, I've got looking on Twitter here. I've got some vagina facts from I Am a Vagina Expert on Twitter. It says the normal environment of a vagina is a hostile one for sperm cells, as it is very acidic, vicious, and patrolled by immune cells.
Yeah.
This has been your vagina fact of the day.
I didn't know we were going to have one a day. I was going to spend all
I mean,
day
it was
talking
Vagina
about
Friday. I mean, so
vagina
threw
facts.
something in
Not
there.
anymore because Christy didn't show up. She didn't answer her phone. She's not
I don't know what to
answering
say.
texts. Do we have some incidental texting music over here? I could play more Conan. I have George's Granada. I have instrumental text music. We already. I'm typing in text like I'm going to find text music. It just goes to show you write whatever you hear. Or if you try to write and talk at the same time,
Oh,
you're
boy.
gonna wind up writing what you're
you're
talking
saying?
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not up. My pot is not up. My
Oh,
computer.
Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you. This is texting music over here.
We're texting on the George Rodriguez Show.
Yeah.
Gotta pick up your phone right now. We don't know where to go.
This does not bode well.
Texting on the George Rodriguez Show.
Yeah.
No, not Kenny
We
Walker.
know you can't talk right now, so look at your phone somehow. George is sending you a text. Hopefully you get it fast. It's texting on the
All
George
right,
Rodriguez
keep an eye
Show.
on the phone because maybe DJ Special K is going to call in and do the explain what happened at Club Cinema in Pompano. That's a great place because it's called Club Cinema because it used to be one of those old movie theaters. Like, remember? Are you old enough to remember when you would go to the movie theaters and it was just one theater?
No.
Just giant. No, it's because you're only 12. Just a giant movie theater with rows and rows of seats and
It was like a
balconies, kind of like a
theater.
concert hall. Yeah, like a theater, like
Just a
kind of like
regular
the
theater.
Fillmore
Theater.
Yeah, but so everything went multiplex and Googleplex. So those old theaters, they had to tear them down, turn them into something, parcel them off or something. So Club Cinema is like that. It's just a great view of the stage from anywhere that you're at there. And it's your South Florida rave capital these days. Or I should say rave-like parties. They're not raves. They're rave-esque.
Rave-esque, exactly.
Plur, baby.
Rave-inspired.
Yes. Oh, you said Raven.
Yeah.
Raven?
Shout out to DJ Raven. And if you're up in the Del Rey or Boca area, check out Cabo Flats. I'm not in the Del Rey Boca area. That's a schlep. I don't understand. I went to visit my friend Oedipus the other day. He lives out in like West Margate or something. You driving out there, driving west. Why is this out here? Why is all this stuff out here? Who lives out here? Why would anybody want to live out here? I was watching over the weekend on the History Channel. They had this like an all-day "How did the states get their shape?" thing.
A marathon?
Yeah, a marathon of how did the states get their shape.
That's
They
actually
touched
cool.
on West
It's an
Virginia.
interesting show.
It was very interesting, and I learned a lot about a lot of these things. Like, you know why Oklahoma has that panhandle thing sticking out there?
Why is that?
Slavery. All right, Texas wanted to stay in the South and keep slaves.
Mhm.
So, but their northern border was above the "you can't have any slaves here" line. So they just moved their border south, and the United States gave that land to Oklahoma, where you couldn't have slaves. So it's like, we'll just attach that instead of attaching that strip to whatever it is that's above Oklahoma, like Kansas or
Right.
something right there. We're just gonna give that to
Texas,
to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
And so that's why we got the little strip of land sticking out over here for no good reason. Well, it is a good reason. Texas was taller. It used to be taller, and they're just like, nah, just bring the border down so we can keep our slaves, because they couldn't be there.
Did you see the one about Utah?
I think so. Remind me, because I have my own things to say about Utah.
Utah used to, like, the Mormons came out, they settled that land, and they
Mm.
extended it all the way out to the
Yeah.
West Coast in California, and the government just came in and
Yeah.
as natural resources were found, they just kept chopping
Chopping up
They just chopped
parts
it
of
up.
Utah.
Oh, we found gold in these here parts. Sorry, Utah, you can't have that part.
I have my-
Oh, there's silver over there in the east. Oh, nope, can't have that either. Ends up with just a little box.
Wait a minute, I'm texting Kenny back.
Oh,
DJ
where's
Special
the
K.
texting music?
Yeah, where's that texting music? Oh, come back here. This is Lee Rocker, by the way.
And this has been brought to you by the George Rodriguez Show on SoFloRadio.com.
That guy?
That guy.
How fast can your thumbs move? George Rodriguez is on the move. He's texting. Okay.
I can play comedy bits. World Texting Federation. Back when I was doing the Neil Rogers show, I had a lot of instrumental music on deck. We had 11 elements, if you want to know. I had the main audio bit computer, then the side computer, which had my full music library, 2 CD players, a mini disc player, 3 cart machines, and the instant replay sound effect.
What were you
box.
doing with the cart machine? Oh, wait, that was for back in the day.
Yeah, old school.
Yeah, it was a remnant. The only reason that the cart machine was still there is because the original, all of Neil Rogers' original material was all on carts, and little by little we would digitize them and let the carts die and go away. But there was always a little by little thing. People would always find a lost card or a hidden card or a box of cards, and neither Neil nor I is like, don't just take that cart machine out. Don't you understand that the day that you take the cart machine out of there, somebody's going to find a box of cards in the closet. It's like, oh, there's the famous this and the famous that, because we had to move a lot. Not only did we move from IOD to QAM, but we had to move into temporary studios. So a lot of stuff was in storage there for a while, and mini disc. So the bottom line is, whenever Neil wanted to go off mic for any reason or run to the bathroom for an emergency, I had something just all queued up. I would just fire it off, and I always tried to make it something funny, like the Jumpin' Jack O'Brien theme or something that that people would remember from around here. I wonder if I have that over here. Jumpin' Jack Flash, Jumpin' Jack O'Brien. Jumpin' this, no. Damn it. Boca Brian, where is that? Where's Jumpin' Jack O'Brien? What is this? And keep your eye on there. Kenny should be calling any minute now.
Okay.
Did you pop me down?
I did.
Why?
Because it was still playing.
Oh, then. These are all songs with jumping in the title.
Nope. Can't play it.
All right. Oh, I love this song, Jumpin' Jack
Yeah,
Flash.
but I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna play so much that I might have to play music.
I know. I'm like,
at some point.
what's happening here?
Oh, I'm just killing time waiting for Kenny to call in, because I know as soon as I'm gonna get. Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get in the middle of something about something
Real
else. I'm
good
gonna move along on my
conversation,
notes, and then
hey, Special
stop
K's on
this.
the phone.
DJ Special K is gonna be calling in, and I don't know. It's just like nobody. There's no respect, man. People don't. The SAM isn't working. I can't get. Now the internet's not working. Now the internet's not connected. I can't get my texts out.
Can I make a political plug?
Yeah.
For Charlie Crist.
Oh my God! Really? Okay.
Please.
All right.
All right. So
her.
I'm a
Disclaimer.
supporter of Charlie Crist.
Okay. You're the one.
There's a lot of people who support Charlie Crist, and he needs to be
support his
back.
right to tan.
He needs to be back in the governor's office much more than Rick Scott, who is bad for
I
Florida.
agree with that.
So I would like everyone to donate just $1 to his campaign, because it's not so much the money, but the actual numbers of supporters that he needs. So
at this point,
I have pledged $10 to Mr. Charlie Crist in his campaign, because that's what I can afford.
Okay,
at this
I'm not.
point,
I don't have $10 to give to Charlie Crist or anybody else. I'm gonna use it to buy breakfast. That's my breakfast budget. How's that?
I'm not so fond of these politricans.
By the way, I want to shout out to Alan, who called in. Alan likes to, like a lot of people who worship God, likes to tell people things they already know. Like he called to tell us that we're fine on the Ustream feed, but the audio isn't going through. And I still don't know why. As far as I can tell, I shut the computer down at the other studio that was blocking us, and we're still not on. Hi, Alan.
You can't really see
Alan does this thing. I think that Alan has a lot of mental illnesses. I'm trying to figure out what are the things that Alan does on purpose, like mispronouncing people's names on purpose, or just words in general, forgetting people's names, like he calls Dio Dino, and even though you correct him, he'll just keep doing that. I think. See, here's a theory. Help me solve this mystery. Alan, is it on purpose or is he an accidental asshole? What do you think? And he's gonna be calling. He does this thing, like he's over at the apartment the other day and somebody else is there. Tony Colombo, as a matter of fact. We were
Tony Colombo!
Hey, now, Tony. I'm not saying that your house. Anyway.
I'm just saying.
So we're over there, and Alan, and Tony, I mean, nobody's as old as Alan, obviously, but Tony is, I'm younger than Alan, and Tony's younger than me, but we're all in our 40s. Alan's like 59 or something. There you go, Alan. And he does this thing. I wish I could. I'm gonna tape Alan next time he's over here, because he prefaces before he says the name of someone really, 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 really famous. He prefaces it with an explanation, like you don't know who he's talking about. He goes, there was this guy in the '60s named John Lennon, and
never heard of him.
What?
And one time,
who was that?
And he goes.
I can only imagine.
There's this little group out of San Francisco called the Jefferson Starship, and he'll talk to you like you're an idiot, like you don't know, like he's got to explain. It's like,
maybe it's part of his shtick.
there's this heavenly body that a lot of people use to see with during the daytime. It's called the sun. I don't know if you heard of it, but
maybe it's a part of his shtick.
It's up in the sky half the time, so this other day I was out underneath it, and
well, it sounds as though if aliens did ever reveal themselves on this planet, that Alan would be the perfect person for them to speak to.
I really want them to probe him so that they can tell me possibly whether or not he's an accidental asshole or if it's on purpose. It's like maybe on our planet we have isolated the asshole gene. It looks like this, and they'll throw you little 3D animated hologram. Oh, like this is it's located here in the DNA strand, and I bet you if you zoom in really close, you'll see Alan's face. As the asshole. I love you, Alan. It's great. But talk about stating the obvious, worshiping. That's why I love that Monty Python prayer. Do you know the one I'm talking about from Meaning of Life? Did you ever see Meaning of Life?
I've seen all the Monty Pythons. It's just been a long time, so I may not remember. Because I like to live in the moment. And that was a long time ago.
I wonder. Oh, here we go. An honest prayer. Am I potted up, please?
Yes.
Thank you. And I don't know if I'm potted up on my own thing. Here we go. What the hell's that? Was it the pirate fish?
Praise God.
More.
I got your more right there.
There.
Oh, you are so big. So absolutely huge. Gosh, we're all really impressed down here, I can tell you. Forgive us, O Lord, for this our dreadful toadying. But you're so strong and well, just so super.
Fantastic. No, do you really believe? Oh,
Please don't burn us.
I forgot there was more.
Or toast your flock. Don't put us on the barbecue or simmer us in stock. Don't braise or bake or boil us or stir fry us in a wok. Oh, please don't lightly poach us or baste us with hot fat. Don't make us say or roast us or boil
What's the video showing?
The movie is. But it's okay. It's an audio thing. There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Monty Python. So, when interviewed, the Pythons all agreed that Life of Brian was the movie that they enjoyed making the most because it was something that they all agreed about the most. Not that they were all atheists, because and again, because I'm always having to explain my position, because a lot of people, oh, you're an atheist, and I go, no, I have never been an atheist. I have never said I was an atheist. No one has ever heard me say that I don't believe in God or that I believe that there isn't a God or anything of that nature. I doubt people. I question the words of men, and anything that anyone believes along a religious thing, if they came from one of two places. They made it up themselves, or someone else told it to them. Okay?
Right.
It's like the aliens. I was talking to Jack before the show. He was asking me about, the aliens. Do you think that there are extraterrestrials? And I don't know, do I believe in that aliens visited the Earth? Because statistically, there have to be out there life. There has to be. There's just with all the billions and billions of stars and billions of galaxies, there's no way that we can be the only one. It's statistically impossible that we're the only ones. All right, but as far as aliens visiting the Earth, it's just like anything else. There are the people who believe in the things that, and I don't even want to go to the point where to use the word proof, they cannot give you any evidence that you can even say yay or nay, because having quote unquote evidence is not necessarily proof, because your evidence could be flawed or fabricated. You have to provide people with evidence that then they can pick through to see if your evidence is convincing enough for them. Like, there are certain things that are undeniable and factual, like the sun rises in the east, and the east is an arbitrary direction, but that's what we've defined. It's that way, okay? Yonder's the Atlantic Ocean. That's where the sun comes up, where we live. And that's a fact, and it's not deniable. But then there are other things that you can believe anything you want, or you can say it. And that's another thing, Randy.
Yes.
How do you know what someone believes? Because people will ask you all the time, do you believe this? And it's like, well, that's not really relevant to anything, because I can believe that aspartame will give me cancer, or I can believe that it won't. Whether or not it does has nothing to do with whether I say I believe that. And if I say I believe, that could be a lie.
There are entire schools of thought that are based around that philosophy right there. Like,
Sure.
belief kills and belief cures. Some people, like just having the thought about something, believing something makes it true.
Right, but I don't believe that reality is a state of mind. For example, I believe that all of the world and the universe and the sun and the stars existed before humans did. Okay, I don't believe that once upon a time. How could that have happened? All of existence didn't come into existence because a human was born and started perceiving it. The existence had to exist before the humans, and then we were born into it. Right?
I don't know.
Well, reality existed before you did, unless you believe that this is a dream that you're having. I had a dream. I got to shout out to Fireball. I'm going to shout out to Fireball. And more on I'm going to write you a Facebook message. Wow. Did you ever have, speaking of beliefs, like I call them marathon dreams? Because, we all dream, but some dreams are short, some dreams are long. And then some dreams like go all night long. You ever have dreams like that?
Absolutely.
Like campaign marathon dreams?
And
you call it 2:30. Well, here it is, 2:30. I had a marathon dream about Fireball. Not the whiskey, this girl
Okay.
that I know
Mhm.
that doesn't live here. That we're Facebook friends.
All
It's
right.
all very on the up and up. I impressed her by not hitting on her. You ready for that?
Oh, wow. Impressive.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Because it's like she said she had a boyfriend back where she lives, and I'm like, well, then we're going to keep this all very lady and gentlemanly like.
Such a
She's like,
gentleman.
you're not going to like I said, wow, really? And I said, no, like tell you to dump that guy, or say things like, hey, you're here and he's there, and love the one you live with, and when in Miami, everything
Do
that
as the
happens in
Romans
Miami
do.
stays in Miami. And it's like, 20 years ago, I might have used that kind of bullshit line. But 20 years ago, I didn't think of the consequences of my actions as much as I do. These
Right.
days, I have grown as a person, and I don't want, I feel guilty about things that I did 20 years ago because I was an impetuous youth and I didn't think things through. And as a result, I feel bad now. Even though no harm was done, it was like things that were going on behind people's back. No harm was done as far as I know, because you don't really know. Nevertheless, I feel bad if anything that I did even influenced something in someone else's life, like a relationship, negatively.
Interesting.
So I didn't want to be that kind of a factor. I didn't want to be a motivational factor in her life, or changing the status of her relationship or anything. So we just, messages and pictures and things. And it's all very, very, I'm trying to use this as a rule. Nothing that I would be embarrassed by if the NSA made it public.
Okay.
That kind of thing, so I don't want to look like a big fat hypocrite. But boy, did I have a dream about her last night. It was
okay.
a marathon, on and on. We traveled the world. We did everything, and we were in outer space.
What?
Yeah, it was just all kinds of things. Meanwhile, back to belief systems. Here, what's this? Because I like to introduce new conventions on the show. Well, every once in a while. And it kind of ties in with the NSA. They've got face recognition software that it's getting better and better all the time, right?
Wow.
You're aware of this, right?
Yeah, I think you can do like Google search images like that.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Like the Minority Report, for example. You walk through the door, the computer, the scanner scans your face, it recognizes you, and it says, "Hello, Tom. It's been."
Would you like to try
We haven't
some
seen
new
you for 2
khakis?
months. How did you like the khakis that you bought last month? We have a new line these days. These are pleated. The facial recognition software uses things like starts with, it scans you from top to bottom, but one of the most distinct features that we have are our noses. And I've talked, I don't know if I've spoken since you guys have joined the show, about my thing with noses, that I have a nose thing. As a matter of fact, it was the first thing I ever said to the ex-wife when I met her. I said, I love your nose. Those are the first things I said to her. Those first words. Because she had a very nice nose. Still does. It's about all that's nice anymore on her. Still, the nose is still there. When I point this out to people, they go, oh, well, I never really realized how important the nose is. Think of the people that we identify as attractive. Women mostly, because men, there's more latitude. Like you can have a hook in your nose, or like a Charlton Heston nose, or
as long as it's in your nose.
Yeah. A hook?
Yes.
Yes. But
that's
anyway, so here's my big idea, because they have all the cameras are everywhere, face recognition software is everywhere. I'm going to introduce the concept of disguises as fashion.
Okay.
All right.
That
For example,
makes me think of the one scene from Alice in Wonderland, like the latest version.
The Tim Burton.
Yeah, the Red Queen.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, their noses and their butts are falling off.
I don't think the Skype's on.
I see it on.
Well, the line is busy.
It is?
As per Special K.
That could just be our internet connection. Oh, here we go. And that's why we're not streaming and this and that. And, who the hell knows. And your hotline seems to be busy. Can't get through. I'm going to type that. Okay, never mind. I should have the text music on again, right? Oh, good Lord. Here we go. Thank you.
Crazy little mama come knocking, brother, knocking at my front door, door, door. Crazy little mama come knocking at my front door. Crazy little mama come knocking.
Okay, there we go. So anyway, like Groucho Glasses, or things that obscure your face as fashion accessories, fake mustaches, fake eyebrows, things like that. What do you think? Just start a new convention?
Sure. I mean, the mustaches are pretty popular right now. So
Like fake mustaches?
Fake mustaches, yeah. So I know you're saying like add some eyebrows and.
Well, the
some,
Groucho
like,
Glasses are
long
great
noses.
because they've got it all. Like I want to find, and if you are running around
I'll do
somewhere
it.
and you see like, because there are a lot of different styles of Groucho Glasses. I don't know if you know. Like some of them have the built-in cigar.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Some of them have eyebrows, some of them don't. Some of them just like the real simple Groucho Glasses, just the glasses with a nose hanging off of it, and that's good enough to fool that face recognition software. And I'm thinking, I'm just gonna start like buying things like that, like fake sideburns, fake mustaches, or maybe going for different looks like. What's Avery Shriver? He's the guy with the really bushy mustache and that makes the sound effects and the bushy hair. The from the olden days. The white guy, not the black guy from the Police Academy movies.
Michael
Winslow.
Yeah, Michael Winslow.
That makes all the sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. For example, damn. How about here? You know what I'm gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Watch what I can do. Hand me that cable there.
Oh,
Watch
check out
this.
the technology.
Yeah, and then pop me up.
Kick it!
Please.
I don't even know which one this would be.
The one that pot them all up.
Okay.
And then you'll never be wrong.
I'm gonna go with this one right here.
Hello.
Hey, George, how you doing?
Hey, I put the phone on the air. We need more volume on him. A lot more. Hey, so I put my phone on the air because I'm amazing that way. Tell us the story. I kind of teased it a little bit that Carnage and your microphone got arrested. Was it last Friday or Saturday at Club Cinema?
It was last Saturday night.
Did they frisk the microphone? Do you know?
Did they
Yeah,
read
this
the
is the microphone I'm speaking on.
Did they read the microphone the Miranda rights?
No, they didn't. I think I can get them. I'm going to call the ACLU on this.
Yeah.
Great. So why don't you take us through the
injustice.
events? Because I was under the impression that Pompano just didn't like you people at all, and you said that I was wrong about that.
They don't like us for one reason. It's money. The mayor himself wants the property of that club. So he's trying every which way and using his political power to screw over the owner of that club.
Okay.
And it's just been an on-feuding battle for the last year. It's why, we've been smeared across, every news channel there is. Make it seem like we're the demons of underage drinking.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. My gosh. He might be, some 13-year-old might be slipping a drink.
And they're burning Bibles, too. I heard that.
So
They don't have Bibles in
the bottom
Pompano.
line is the club decided to, okay, let's play by your rules. Let's get rid of our liquor license. No alcohol in the whole building. Great. We can stay back open till 4 a.m. 2 o'clock rolls around, where usually that's when Club Cinema for the last year has been forced to shut down. The club was supposed to stay open until 4 a.m. Carnage was on. Great show. I'm emceeing. Amir's emceeing with me. We're having a great time. Fire marshal gets some kind of phone call. We don't know from who. We can take a guess. All of a sudden, the fire marshal sends in the Gestapos, and then that's when the lieutenant was screaming at the club managers, pushing them up against the wall, sent their sergeant in, and that's that famous picture you see. That guy just had the smirk from hell. Yeah, he just looks like he just really didn't want to be there. And Carnage is like, fuck the fire marshal, fuck everybody else, fuck the police, we're going to still party. Well, they let that go on for 15 more minutes, and then the sergeant grabbed him up and said, you shutting it down? I started doing my, everybody's got to leave, and then the cops grabbed the microphone out of my hand. And I'm like, First Amendment, buddy, you're a private property, you can't do that. So I snatched it back.
See, I needed you on the streets of Hollywood last Friday.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I heard about your incident.
I almost got arrested, but that's all right. It was a little bit different. I needed to go do some work anyway. I didn't have time for a riot in the trolley.
So the bottom line is the club went absolutely ballistic. They did put handcuffs on Carnage, for a few minutes. They were pushing me around. And
I thought they arrested him.
Because there was like 4,000 freaking people there. They knew it would just cause an absolute riot. They couldn't control it with the 30-odd some odd police. They just came in there and pushed everybody around with. And that's how the night went. And of course, now there's FBI is involved now with the situation. It's all going to court. Now, meanwhile, the club, unbeknownst to anybody, had hidden video cameras everywhere. Even had a drone flying over, taking videos of how the cops came bursting in and, breaking the law, basically, because they can't just come forcing in on a property like that. And that's what they've been constantly doing. So the club owner got tired of it. Now, of course, the club owner, is an ex-cocaine dealer from the Chicago area. Went to prison, blah, blah, blah. That was 15 years ago. Whatever. The guy paid his price or whatever hell, he did. Has no bearing on what's going on now, other than it's a personal feud between the mayor of Pompano and that club owner.
Okay.
So we pay the price of it because the mayor just hates, the electronic, music scene going on.
Well,
and of course, all the other businesses around there are profiting. All the kids that are pulling in, they're paying for the parking of the other parking lots. They're going to the Winn-Dixie. They're going to the Dunkin' Donuts that's open 24 hours. They're going to the Denny's that's right next door, the McDonald's. All that money's being dumped on every weekend. They're doing one of these large shows. Let's see how they're going to like it when all those people aren't there, and all of a sudden now their profit margin, is gone. Just like what they did in the city of Fort Lauderdale in the early 90s.
Are you guys shopping for a Plan B location like Atrium or something like that?
Yeah, this something like that, just in case it, it doesn't go the way. Yeah, then we'll be moving the parties. Probably like either Revolutions or Club Atrium.
Pompano's a funny place, man. I heard, because Al Goldstein used to live in Pompano, and he was always at odds with the city officials there, and and he used to go to different bars and clubs that. Can you hear me if I talk into the microphone?
Oh, I hear you fine.
Okay, great. I didn't think it worked that way. Amazing. So, but he
don't let the cops come in.
It's too late. Well, we're gonna have to keep moving locations for a lot of reasons, I guess, and that's one of them. So
we got something in common with you guys.
They don't arrest me. But Al Goldstein would say the people that run Pompano, they're all in the mob. They're all gangsters up here. They're all mafiosos, and the only way that you can do any business in Pompano is if you give them a big bags of money. That's what Al Goldstein said. So
that's a good Woody Allen, by the way.
Oh, that sounds just like Hollywood. That's how we kept Club Exit open all those years.
Yeah.
Is bribing them? Well, that's right. You said
we
that
had to.
the guy in the underwear guy.
The underwear guy. We used to have on Thursday nights, we had like 3 different brown bags full of cash, and 3 different officials, won't name names, used to come up and pick those bags up. And that's the only reason for all those years we were able to keep the raves going on at Club Exit.
And you wonder, why I'm an anarchist now. In case you didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm officially, that's my new political affiliation, anarchy. I'm done, man.
That's what he was going through on Friday. He was the remnants of anarchy.
Yeah, I was a very obedient anarchist on Friday.
And liquor.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Here's the flip side of the situation. The electronic music scene isn't stuck underground with people that really don't have a lot of money. Now you're dealing with major corporations that are funding these parties. You have SFX, you have Live Nation. These are big, companies that could overpower those types of cities. I'll give you, for instance, Ultra. Ultra, they were bitching about staying open for another 3 days, another weekend. What did? They stroked them a check for $800,000. You know what? The city shut the hell up super quick.
Yep.
That's the whole city of Miami.
Speaking of Ultra,
All about the money.
You got to get me in there with you, even if it's as your personal valet.
Are we going to have to crawl up the stage again?
Yeah.
Count me in too.
I got all these other people around me. I want them to be able to go to Ultra, but I can only suck your dick myself. You see, I can't make any offers for other people.
I'll pass on that.
Whatever arrangement you and I come to, that's for me. I'm not gonna suck your dick
as long as you give me a reach around, then I'm okay.
Right, I'm not gonna suck your dick on behalf of any of the people in the building.
You guys are all so close.
They can suck.
No, they are.
They can suck your dick themselves if they want to go into Ultra. I missed it like the last 3 years or something, and I used to go every year, and I can't not go again. I'm gonna get my big Timberland boots for the mud,
I thought you were gonna say something different.
Stuff my pockets full of cash for the $12 meat on a stick. And camp out. I got to go this year, even if it's...
hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. You had the same all accesses passes and production.
Yeah.
You had the radio station badges.
Yeah.
Why weren't you in the back with us getting all the free food, the free drinks, the free
Yeah,
hookers?
George.
I did all right.
Wait
with
a minute.
the
Hold
passes.
on. Even that last year that me and you did it, that's why I kept on going to the back, because I knew where the free booze were. And
I
for
didn't.
the
I was kind of in front.
I was hobbling around with my broke leg.